This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mint, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to diehard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the show, everybody. Happy Friday. Whew. Undertaker sound real early. A little too early for that. That's all right. All right, let's keep on rolling, though. This is the last show we're going to have before the daunting Tarek Skubal trade deadline. That obviously is happening on Monday, so I guess there is a chance that we're talking once again before Tarek Skubal gets traded. I kind of think that's going to be the case, but there is just as good of a chance as there isn't that by the time Monday morning rolls around and we're talking, Tarek Skubal could be on a different team. So this very well could be our last show talking about the deadline. I want to get into a couple things, hop in the time machine, and predict what we are going to be thinking and what the national media and baseball minds are going to be thinking about Scott Harris here momentarily. But just looking ahead to the rest of the show, Kyle Whittingham, rubbed some Michigan fans the wrong way yesterday. Big Ten Media Day, Michigan Media Day, had some pretty nice things to say about Ryan Day and Ohio State. I know Michigan fans aren't going to like that. I'm going to tell you why it's actually a good thing to de-emphasize the Ohio State game a little bit later on in the show. And then, of course, we'll get some Lions in as well, day 3 of training camp starting today. But to kick things off, of course, as we've done every day this week, we're going to hop into a Tarek Skubal conversation, but this one's going to be a little bit different. This one's going to be hopping into a time machine. Let's go 1 week from today. It is next Friday. What are the conversations amongst Tigers fans, amongst Tigers media, amongst national media going to be centered around Scott Harris? What are we going to be discussing with the president of baseball operations? Because the last 3 years, this trade deadline has not been too kind to none other than Scott Harris, all right? So let's first hop in the time machine backwards. In 2024, this is when they traded Jack Flaherty 2 minutes before the deadline rolled around. And here's a quote from Evan Petzold from the Free Press at the time. A rival executive described the Tigers' return as not good, a not good return relative to other deals for starting pitchers at the deadline. They waited too long. They had better offers. They kept declining them, thinking that they could get more and more and more. And would you look at that? It's $6.58, and we need to get this deal done because we don't want Jack Flaherty on the team anymore. You're forced to sell for 70 cents on the dollar. That was 2024. 2025. Jeff Passan from ESPN gave the Detroit Tigers a D grade. Paddock, Dobnak, Kyle Finnegan, Paul Sewald, Rafael Montero, Cody Hoyer, Charlie Morton, none of which were very effective other than Finnegan. Quote from ESPN, Paddock hardly projects as anything more than someone who might chew up a few extra innings. It's not a game changer. End of sentence. Yahoo Sports also gave the Tigers a D. The Tigers didn't do anything this week to up their World Series odds, which, given the talent on the roster, is a darn shame. That's a quote from Yahoo. Sports Illustrated gave them a C+, says the moves added up to signal that Detroit isn't going for the jugular just yet. Okay, let's remember last year at this time, the Tigers were in first place. And we had national pundits talking about how the Tigers weren't going for the jugular quite yet because they were waiting till this year. They go all in. How does that work out? As far back as 1 month ago now in the time machine, Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic said, quote, "The griping from rival executives about dealing with Scott Harris, the Tigers' notoriously exacting president of baseball operations, would be just as entertaining as the Scooble sweepstakes themselves." In other words, dudes don't like talking to Scott Harris because he's not good at negotiating. He overvalues his own players. He asks to buy players for 30 cents on the dollar. This guy is not fun to pick up the phone with and have conversations. He doesn't have friends, right? You got to be able to have friends if you're going to be a GM. You got to be able to pick up the phone and just spitball some stuff with other GMs. That's how this stuff works. You call another GM, what would you take for this player, blah, blah, blah. And you try to negotiate not just deals, but also come up with play. You got to play the game a little bit, right? You got to play the game, pick up other GMs, figure out players' worth, and try to ink the best deals possible for your own players. And now that we're a couple days away from the deadline, considering all those things I just told you, now let's hop in the time machine and go forward. I have such little confidence that the Tigers are going to be able to pull off some phenomenal move for Tarek Skubal, and we're going to be celebrating the return package that they got. Oh, look at this. These exciting young players. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to be pretty underwhelming what they get back, whether it's the Dodgers or the Brewers or the Braves or the Phillies. It kind of feels like it's just going to be Dodgers or Brewers, but no matter what, like we can get into the weeds of the prospects for the Dodgers, working here with the Loons, the high A affiliate. They've got 5 guys. There's a pretty big drop-off after that 5th guy. I'd be shocked if they got one of those top 5 guys. And the other aspect specifically with the Dodgers, the Tigers, I want to prepare you guys. The Tigers are going to get clowned and dragged through the mud by national pundits after this trade, no matter what. I'm not trying to give you like some inside scoop. I'm telling you, the Dodgers are so loaded in their farm system right now. While also these players in their farm system have nowhere to go because their big league roster is better than anybody's, that they can give up X amount, like whatever they give up for Tarek Skubal, it's going to be of little value to them. Now, whatever player they give up comes into the Tigers farm system, and now that Max Clark is, on the big league roster, whoever this is going to become the Tigers' #1 prospect. But it's going to be inconsequential to the Dodgers because they have such an abundance of stars in their farm system that they can afford to give one of these guys up, and it costs them really nothing of value to themselves. It'll be value to the Tigers. But every national pundit, whether it's ESPN, Yahoo Sports, Sports Illustrated, Jeff Passan, Ken Rosenthal, it doesn't matter. Every single one of them is going to say they got Tarek Skubal and they didn't even have to hurt themselves all that much in their farm system. That is going to happen. It will be the Tigers who lose this trade, no matter what, because of how loaded the Dodgers farm system is. Not to mention, the Tigers are going to be the villains across all of baseball. You send Tarek Skubal to the Dodgers. Oh, look at that. All of a sudden, we're not playing baseball next year because the Dodgers did it again. Not only, and I know it's easy to say, well, it's not like they're like overpaying Tarek Skubal yet, but guess what? The reason the Dodgers are in this position right now with the #1 farm system and the highest payroll is because they spend more money, not just at the big leagues level, but putting scouts in the Dominican, putting scouts in Korea, in Japan, putting scouts everywhere. They dump resources into coaching, development, everything from top to bottom. It's not just the fact that they're spending money on players at the big leagues level. It goes all the way down to the scouting in other countries. They have more resources. That's why their farm system is the best farm system in baseball. And I'm not just saying that because I work in it. I'm saying that because they have the most top 100 players. They're so loaded in their farm system, yet none of these players have anywhere to go because their big league roster is so good. So they're in a position where they can lose players, acquire Tarek Skubal, and it not hurt them. But that's the Dodgers. Like, focus here on the Tigers. 1 week from today, Scott Harris is getting dragged through the mud because I don't think he's going to have the ability to land one of these Dodgers top 5 guys. I think no matter what, whether it's the Brewers or the Dodgers, there is going to be a emphasis from national pundits that Scott Harris got dog walked. And it's not just the national pundits that think that. I mean, I told you that quote from the Free Press, Detroit Free Press from 2024. A rival executive described the Tigers' return as not good return relative to other deals for starting pitchers at the deadline. Scott Harris is not good at this stuff. So I'm walking into this weekend knowing there's a Tarik Skubal trade happening, petrified that they are going to get, I was going to say something I probably shouldn't, but thrown into the deep end and not land anyone of value back in return. I am petrified that they're not going to land one of the Dodgers' top 5 prospects. I have little to no faith in Scott Harris based on how the last 3 trade deadlines went, based on how rival executives talk to him, based on how national pundits and local pundits have reported upon Scott Harris. I don't have all that much confidence that they're going to be able to ink a good deal. I think 1 week from today, we are going to be talking about Scott Harris in a way that he should be losing his job. The issue is, if you make this deal, it should buy Scott Harris some time, theoretically. You move Skubal, you got some awesome prospects, you got to see these guys pan out. But I really believe Tuesday morning, we are going to be talking about, not just us, but every show across America that covers baseball, how big of a failure Scott Harris had. And when you see that across every pundit, you're going to want Scott Harris to be fired. That's my prediction. I'm not going to put together trade packages, anything like that today. What I am going to tell you is how I think we're going to be reacting to this Monday. Not just us, everybody. I think it's going to be, oh, look at this. The Dodgers fleeced the Tigers. They got Skubal and didn't lose anything of value. And suddenly, because your GM's name is being dragged through the mud, are you prepared to just have Scott Harris around? Because one thing we know, Chris Ilitch isn't in a rush to get rid of anybody. Look at Steve Eisman. Overstayed his welcome, of course. Are you prepared for Scott Harris to be the loser of this year's deadline? I'm 100% prepared. I have such little faith. I have such a lack of evidence that it's going to go any other way. Last 2 deadlines, plus everything that's come out this year about how hard he is to negotiate with. My faith in the ability to have a blockbuster return for Tarik Skubal is next to none. I'm expecting to be disappointed. That's where I'm at. Are you prepared for that? 989-837-6125. So hop in the time machine with me. What are we going to be talking about 1 week from today? The conversations around Scott Harris. I think it's that he should be let go. Unfortunately, he's not going to be let go. But in my mind, 1 week from today, we are going to, not just we, everyone is going to be discussing Scott Harris as someone who got completely dog-walked by the Dodgers at the deadline. And pretty much the reason there's going to be no baseball next year. That's unfortunately where I'm at. I think he'll get traded. There's like 10% of me that thinks he's so bad at his job, Scott Harris, that Skubal won't be dealt. That's nightmare scenario number 1. But I really struggle to think, wow, Scott Harris knocked this out of the park. I think that's the most unlikely thing that could happen. I have such little faith in him to have a blockbuster return. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Iron Stack Technology. You know, we talk about the game plans all the time on this show, the execution of it. That is how Iron Stack approaches IT. They help businesses stay secure, efficient, and ready for what's next so you can focus on your mission instead of your technology. Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven, mission-focused. You can check them out online at ironstacktechnology.com. The show, as always, is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair, the experts who do the job right the first time. Whether you have a leaky roof, storm damage, siding looking tired, Bresky has you covered, locally owned, trusted, and dedicated to keeping Midland area homes safe and looking sharp. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Don't wait for the next storm. Call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today and keep your home strong for years to come.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
(989-837-6125). Kyle, are you expecting disappointment the way that I'm expecting disappointment at this year's deadline? Whether that deal happens over the weekend or on Monday, I'm just expecting to be disappointed with the return. I'm expecting Scott Harris to be dragged through the mud by national pundits. I'm expecting other executives to be laughing at the return that the Tigers got for the back-to-back Cy Young winner. I have such little faith, and I have all these conversations about what is it going to look like? What's the return going to be? I don't think we need to dive into the weeds on the prospects and all that, but everyone's like, oh, I think they'll get this from the Dodgers. I think they'll get this. And I somewhat laugh at those returns that people expect them to get. Guys, Scott Harris isn't good at his job, especially this part of it, and there's enough evidence over the last 2.5 years that that's the case. So I am expecting the Tigers to get a return and us to just go, oh, man, I really would have liked a little bit more than that. That's kind of my expectation, unfortunately. But I think there's enough evidence to have little faith in Scott Harris's ability to get this thing done.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things there. Obviously, I think no matter what the return is, you're going to have that feeling of, I wish they got a little more. To your point of, even if it isn't the Dodgers, if it's the Brewers who also have an absolutely loaded farm system, obviously it's a little bit different for them because it's a true rental for Milwaukee. It could be a return that you and I and people that are tapped into the prospects and minor league baseball scene could be happy with, and the Tigers still lose the trade. That's the thing. Like, the Tigers could get one of those top guys in the Dodgers org. They could get Mike Sirota. They could get one of those guys, and we're excited about it, and they still lose the trade. And the conversation is still had that Andrew Friedman picked up Scott Harris and shoved him in the toilet and flushed it.
You want to know why?
Because that's going to be the conversation.
Because even if the Tigers get one of those top 5 guys in the Dodgers farm system, they still have the number 1 farm system and didn't really give up that much of value because they still have the best farm system in the league, even if they give up one of those players.
Like at
so it's not going to break their back.
And once again, like, we just do have to keep in mind here, this is the back-to-back Cy Young winner. We can be very excited about the return because I'm going to be, because it is, you're losing him for nothing. You're going to either lose him for nothing or get whatever you get. But that doesn't matter to the Dodgers. That doesn't matter to the Brewers. They're adding the back-to-back Cy Young to a postseason roster.
While still having the best farm system in baseball.
They don't need, yeah, exactly. Like, half of these guys they don't need on their team going forward. Even Milwaukee, a team that isn't going to spend money really ever. They always play it smart and trade their guys away. They are already loaded at the big league level with a loaded prospect system.
You would think that if you trade Tarek Skubal or you trade for Tarek Skubal, it would dry you up in the farm system. And with the Dodgers specifically, they could trade for him and still have such a fruitful amount of resources in their farm system of the best prospects in all of baseball. Their farm system's so loaded, they have zero reason to give up their top prospect. I can guarantee that guy's just going to be on the Dodgers after the trade deadline, in the Dodgers organization.
Right, but
because they have more and more and more and more guys.
I get that. What I'm trying to say is they could even trade him, and it doesn't matter. The Dodgers won the trade. The Dodgers are adding Tarek Skubal to an already back-to-back World Series winning roster.
Mm-hmm. The Tigers are painted as the villains because of that.
Exactly. Like, it doesn't even matter. The Dodgers could give up way overpay. And the conversations, the stuff that you're bringing up, we turn on ESPN in the morning, you turn on MLB Network, whatever you choose to watch to get all of your trade deadline coverage, it's going to be, look at what the Dodgers did. Look at what the Dodgers did to the Tigers.
And it's going to be, well, the Dodgers gave this up, and they only had to give up this. They barely lost anything in their farm system. They still have Josue De Paula and Zaire Hope and Mike Sirota. Look at what they have accomplished. This is a 10 out of 10 trade deadline for the Dodgers. Meanwhile, they're going to talk about the Tigers, say, yeah, they lost the back-to-back Cy Young, and they hope one of these guys ends up panning out. That's what it's going to be. They're going to get dumped on by national media. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, and when you zoom it out a little bit, comparing it to the last couple trade deadlines, which, of course, have gone poorly. I see Ryan in our YouTube chat also says, this goes even further to when Scott Harris failed to trade Eduardo Rodriguez at his first trade deadline in 2023. Good point. Or that would have been the year before that. But anyways, this is like times 1,000. You know, Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers. Yeah, he was the best right-hander traded at the deadline, sure. It was Jack Flaherty. Last year, 2025, Tigers are the best team in the American League, and they trade for a bunch of, you listed off those names. Who, and who? I don't know any of those guys. What are any of those guys doing right now outside of Kyle Finnegan?
Pitching in Japan?
No clue, because they all stunk. And Kyle Finnegan this year, as a closer, has stunk. Mm-hmm. Sure, he's been fine in the 7th inning. Good for him. So this year, it's Tarek Skubal. It's the back-to-back Cy Young. And we're talking about how is Scott Harris going to be talked about? Like, he was talked about that way by national writers and the local writers for those minimal trades.
Because of what executives are telling them.
For trading for a bunch of nobodies, and the conversation was like, man, look at what the Tigers did. They're trading the biggest name to get traded in years. This is going to be times 1,000,000 as far as the conversation that is had on top of it.
And this is why all the way back at the end of May, we begged Chris Ilitch to move on from Scott Harris because we didn't trust him to deal with this year's deadline. Now we're here. Scott Harris is obviously still employed, and we are truly petrified of what is about to happen. We are truly petrified because you have been nailing this right on the head. In theory, this is a perfect opportunity to add on to your quite amazing core that you have. With or without Tarek Skubal, Riley Green, Dylan Dingler,
amazing
Kevin
is probably
McGonigal.
A stretch.
I mean, those three guys is a pretty solid foundation. Like, more than solid foundation.
It's pretty solid. I would say an amazing core is like what the good teams in baseball have.
Sure, but then Job, Montero, and Melton. Like, you feel pretty damn good about that rotation and that core in your lineup going forward. And this is a chance to add on top of that. Yet, I have more confidence. I feel like it's way more likely that they just end up getting a bunch of nothing for Tarek Skubal, and they don't have the ability to add on top of that. And suddenly Scott Harris, from every national pundit, is getting dragged through the mud by getting walked by the Dodgers. That's where we're headed with this. I'm petrified. I warned you guys 2 months ago that Scott Harris should not have the ability to control this year's deadline. Yet here we are. And now we're actually here, and it's scary. I think the right thing to do is to trade Tarek Skubal. That's not up for debate. However, I really wish we had a GM that we trusted more, specifically around the trade deadline, because this is how you shape the future of your baseball team. Yet, the last 2 years, he's gotten laughed at.
Yeah.
And this is obviously, like, under a microscope, magnified times 100, based on the last 2 deadlines.
Yeah, the last 2 years, it's Game 5 of the divisional series. He's going out to start, and he gives up 12 runs in the first inning. Like, that has been Scott Harris. Now it's Game 7 of the World Series. Now it's the magnitude is much higher with it being Tarek Skubal. And to have any faith that it's going to go in a direction that even if you get the package that the guys in the weeds love, the guys that are all tapped in love the return, it's not going to matter from the talk about it. The talk is not going to matter at all. They could get DePaula and Zaire Hope.
Well,
Dodgers still won the trade. Because guess what? Them weeds are not playing.
That is where I think I would push back a little bit, but I have zero faith that they could get both DePaula and Hope. Like, that's just not going to happen.
I'm obviously being hyperbolic here.
I know. I'm starting to think they won't even get one of the Dodgers' top 5 guys. I'm expecting a massive disappointment and us to be like, are you serious? That's it? That's my expectation. So I'm like lowering my expectation so I'm not massively disappointed on Tuesday. What happened in the time machine? What's our reaction going to be on Tuesday? 989-837-6125. Calling all collectors, sports fans, and hobby enthusiasts. Curveball Collectibles is your one-stop shop for everything in the trading card world. Whether you're buying, selling, or trading, Curveball has the latest sealed hobby boxes, raw and graded cards, and autographed sports memorabilia from top brands like Fanatics and Topps. Stop in and experience the excitement of an in-store card show atmosphere where the hobby community comes together. Only at Curveball Collectibles.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on the Mid. Kyle Sandel, take it away with the news.
The Mit's Morning Catch.
All right. Man, I can't wait to get into these Kyle Whittingham quotes. I'm quite excited for that. First off, though, let's get into other stuff going on in the news. Covenant Healthcare Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Injury Report. Dan Campbell once again speaking to the media this morning, giving a couple of injury updates. First off, Christian Izien is still recovering from the flu, so he will not be suiting up at practice today for the Lions, hopefully returning soon, because it seems like that's a guy that is going to get some opportunity. At least the plan was for him to in this secondary for Detroit.
Yeah, I was pretty caught off guard during Campbell's press conference when he said that's the guy they wanted. It seemed like he alluded to that was the guy they wanted to start at nickel in training camp. I figured that would be Roger McCreary's job locked up with Keith Abney biting at his ankles, but it sounds like they want Izien in that spot too. Yeah. He'll obviously be repping at safety as well as soon as he ends up back on the field. But yeah, there is a deep secondary. I know like there's a lot of questions about who's starting, but there is a lot of pieces I'm intrigued by in the secondary if you're trying to spin this thing positively.
They saw Izien lock up John Bakari middle school football tape, and they were like, yeah, we got to get this guy started.
Need him.
And the other thing that Dan Campbell spoke about was Jahmyr Gibbs, not just his contract, but there's a slight back injury going on with Jahmyr Gibbs. He said he's not worried about it. It's not considered serious at all. So not only the injury, but it seems like the contract, both the Lions and Dan Campbell are not worried about with Gibbs, which we did get the update here. Let's move on, but keep it with Gibbs. Yesterday, Ian Rappaport reporting that there really is not any serious talks going on between the Lions and Gibbs right now as far as the contract goes, or at least there is not progress being made in contract extensions. I don't know. Is that something or nothing?
I love Rap Sheet. I'm going to take the words straight from the horse's mouth with Dan Campbell on this one, who said he's not worried about this yesterday, that this was going to get done. If Dan Campbell's not worried about it, I'm not going to be worried about it. Because like according to St. Brown, he's still going to all the meetings. He's still like learning the schemes under Drew Petzing. He's in the building. And it's not like it's like, hey, good practice, go home, everybody. They're there from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day right now. He's there the whole time. And it's not like he's only there to negotiate contracts. Like he's doing everything, the film watching, the meetings, whatever. He's just not practicing. And I don't blame him because he doesn't want to get hurt. I'm still at like a 2 in terms of the panic meter.
Okay. Pretty sure you went to see the new Spider-Man movie last night, too. So
jealous.
Shout out Jahmyr Gibbs, big Marvel guy. And he's a big WWE guy, right? You guys would get along.
Me and Gibbs?
Yeah,
we got a lot in common, me and Gibbs. Both, like, super fast.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome guys. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Okay, other
Score
stuff.
A bunch of touchdowns.
Yep, bunch of touchdowns. ESPN this morning, we're getting just trade deadline articles pumped out like crazy. They give out 10 trade predictions, and 2 of them are Tigers trades. Here we go. Tarek Skubal, their prediction, this was not Jeff Passan, by the way, different MLB writer for ESPN, predicts Tarek Skubal to the Braves. It's not between the Dodgers or Brewers. They've been the 2 heavily, most talked about teams, but the Braves, the Rays, the Phillies have been the 3 other teams that have really been tossed into this. And they predict Tarek Skubal to the Braves. That's interesting. The other one is Gleyber Torres. It's not Casey Mize. Gleyber Torres to the Boston Red Sox, who just acquired a right-handed bat that got injured. So they'd be maybe looking to replace that right-handed bat with Gleyber Torres himself. I know Yankees fans would be crying themselves to sleep if Gleyber Torres got traded to the Red Sox because they have been wishing and praying for them to trade back for Gleyber Torres at this deadline. So that would be pretty terrible.
It really, I just don't understand why they didn't bring back Gleyber Torres to begin with. He's such a solid at bat at the top of any single lineup.
It's because they didn't like the non-versatility thing.
Oh, that he only wanted to play second?
Yeah, but now they're like begging for a second baseman. They rocked with Ryan McMahon and DJ LeMahieu's last couple of rotting years, so...
DJ LeMahieu's been... I mean, he's got to be one of the older...
No, he's done now, I believe,
Oh.
yeah. I'm pretty sure he's out of baseball now, so... But yeah, we'll see if any of those deals go down. Obviously, like Ben mentioned, this is our likely last time to talk about the deadline. I would expect, what are the odds that one of Torres, Mize, or Skubal are traded by Monday morning show? It's minus, right? It's got to be.
Yeah,
one
I'd
of those
say like
three guys?
68% that one of them's moved.
I would go 1% lower. It's just a little too high.
I just think Scott Harris is a procrastinator when it comes to the deadline, as we've seen the last couple of years. Like, of those 7 trades that he made last year, I'm pretty sure all but the Paddock one was made on the day of the deadline.
Which isn't that, abnormal.
No, it's not.
But
we've only had one trade happen so far.
But also, when you have potentially the 2 biggest names and best players traded at the deadline and then Gleyber Torres on top of it, this isn't the 3 small trades you made last year.
No, and
it's
also
hard to make that caliber of big trades all on the same day.
The Tigers have the ability to trade the best left-handed pitcher, the best right-handed pitcher, and the best hitter at this year's deadline if they really want to. So these are all massive moves.
I would assume there will be a better player hitter than Gleyber Torres moved. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
One of them. Maybe the best right-handed hitter.
Maybe. Okay, other stuff going on in the news. You're talking about Tigers trade. We had one yesterday. Scott Harris, he didn't fall asleep. Jake Rogers. We mentioned that he got DFA'd, but of course he was still eligible to get traded all the way up to the deadline. We expected it to. Didn't really expect this, though. Rogers is sent to the Baltimore Orioles, who were just in town to take on the Tigers in exchange for minor league right-handed pitcher Zane Barnhart, who went to Hillsdale College, or at one point was at Hillsdale College on the west side of the state.
Yeah, so perhaps played here at Northwood. This guy looks like he should be playing with toy trains. That's the vibe I get from him in his pictures that I looked at. Minor league pitcher, it's nothing of value right now. Yeah, he should be building some plane model. He looks like he's 14. He's years away from playing in the
I'm
bigs.
just letting that one soak in. I mean, this guy's probably not a big leaguer, at the end
probably
of the day.
Not.
So,
but you got a lottery ticket for a guy that you DFA'd.
Too. I just kind of figured Rogers would get thrown into the Skubal deal. I think a lot of Tigers fans felt that way. Now, obviously, if the team he gets traded to already has 2 catchers that they like on their roster, then there's no spot for Jake Rogers. But the Baltimore Orioles were like, hey, we saw what Jake Rogers did in that 3-game series, nothing, and we want to trade for him. So sure, that works out. Let's do a couple other things in the news. We were mentioning Casey Mize. He's on the mound tonight for the Tigers. They're taking on the Athletics, starting a 3-game series in Sacramento. But the big news is not Casey Mize on the mound. It's Max Clark making his debut. Where's Max Clark going to hit tonight? What do we think?
Probably the 8 or 9 hole, I would imagine. No need to put a ton of pressure on him right away. It is fascinating, though, that if he played the rest of the season on the Tigers, he burns his rookie eligibility. Therefore, he can't really be sent back down to the minors, in which we know there's going to be baseball played in the minor league level next year. So, if there happens to be no baseball, keeping Max Clark on the team the rest of the year now would prevent him from playing baseball at all next year, which I would think you'd want that to happen, right? You'd rather have Max Clark playing AAA baseball than no baseball at all if there is a lockout.
You'd rather have everybody playing baseball than no baseball.
Correct. I really do think this is a people-pleasing move to do it right now, because I'm just kind of shocked that they would not just wait a couple extra weeks so they can keep his rookie eligibility, because if you're on the roster for 45 days, you lose it. I'm surprised that they're not waiting a couple weeks to do that. It really, to me, feels like we're about to trade Skubal, so let's give the people something to be happy about so we're not the most hated franchise and hated front office there is in Major League Baseball, because we know we're about to get dog walked.
Yeah, it's just a weak thing to do.
It is a weak thing to do.
I would rather them just stand up, which, obviously they're not saying that, but I would rather the reason be, hey, we think Max Clark is the best option at center field, and he's ready to go. That was the stance they always had, was when they didn't want to call him up in May. It's we just don't think he's ready. I would just say, we think he's ready now. We think it is the time. And I will say, too, the Tigers have never, under Scott Harris in this regime, shown the rookie manipulation stuff that a lot of these other organizations do. Even with Kevin McGonigal, we thought that maybe they would wait a month or 2 into the season to bring him up to try to get that extra year of arbitration. They have yet to, show any stance on that, so...
Is it really manipulating, though, if you just wait 2 weeks to keep his eligibility? I don't know.
I mean, I guess maybe not, but also they're going to be getting that competitive balance round pick this year from Kevin McGonigal winning Rookie of the Year, hopefully.
Yeah.
So you're not, we're going to try to win the Rookie Year again? That'd be awesome, but like you're getting a pick this year. Like that's good enough. Let's do one more thing in the news, and then we will save the rest for later. We'll keep it baseball-wise, do all the rest of the football stuff in the second segment. Dodgers Shohei Ohtani out last night versus the Mariners with a sore knee, will return Friday, but the question of whether or not he will pitch going forward is still up in the air. Not much that we've talked about this, but the Ohtani stuff really makes the Skubal trading for, like, it felt like the Dodgers' number one reason to trade for Skubal was not even to add him to their team. It was to keep him away from the other teams in the National League. Now there truly is a need for him if Ohtani might not pitch the remainder of the season. So I think that makes things a lot more interesting.
And not only that, but if there is, okay, obviously Ohtani's one of the most special athletes we have on the planet. There's kind of building up an increasing amount of evidence that pitching him and hitting him, it's just hard to stay healthy the entire year. And he's shown the ability to do it to some extent, but he's starting to wear down a little bit. Maybe Ohtani, if they are able to land Tarik Skubal, an ace pitcher, on top of Yamamoto, and you can have two of those guys, maybe Ohtani ends up flexing himself into a reliever role where he's a closer or a long-form reliever, so they're not asking him to go 6 innings every 5 days. It's like, hey, come close this game for us. That way there's a little less wear and tear on your body. Because one thing I don't think Ohtani will ever sign up for is I'll just be the DH now. I think he wants to play on both sides.
That's what he did last year, you know?
Well, not by choice. He was hurt.
I mean, he was good enough to still hit, you know?
But his elbow was messed up, right?
He still hit every single game. Like, how injured was he?
Injured enough to not be able to pitch. I think he'll never sign up to only be a DH. I think he wants to do both. I think a good compromise on that is you're not going to be our starting pitcher anymore, but we can keep you in the bullpen.
Being paid $700 million, though?
You're still getting one of the best hitters.
Paid that much to play both ways. He is only minus 125 right now to win the National League MVP.
I know.
His odds have really dipped.
I'm rooting for him, too, because
of course
he's this MVP and then one more shy of tying Barry Bonds for the most ever, I believe. I think Barry Bonds ended up with...
I thought Barry Bonds had like 7 MVPs.
Yeah, Ohtani's about to win his 5th, I think.
God, is he actually? That's actually insane.
Let me confirm that.
Ohtani is a 4-time MVP. Yeah, God, it's flown by.
It has flown by because he's on the wrong side of 30. I mean, not the wrong side.
Yeah, Barry Bonds 7-time MVP.
Yeah, so if Ohtani wins this now, he would have to win it 2 more times to tie Barry Bonds.
Which he just probably is going to do. Any year that I will always have the stance, any year that he does pitch and hit, he just probably is the MVP already.
And if we're going,
and it takes an Aaron Judge all-time record season to top that.
Because if we're going it strictly based on the name of the award, most valuable, if he pitches 5 innings in a season, he should probably just win it.
Yeah, you're not telling me Pete Crow Armstrong is more valuable than that.
989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Hey, summers in Michigan, they can be pretty hot, and the last thing you want is for your AC unit to quit out you when it is scorching outside. That is where Answer Heating and Cooling comes in. They get your furnace and AC units running smoothly so your home can stay comfortable all year long. That's Answer Heating and Cooling, keeping Midland homes comfortable all 4 seasons of the year.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Look, I'm really excited to talk about Kyle Whittingham and the comments he had about Ohio State and the rivalry here. We're going to do that to open up the 10 o'clock hour. But I did cause some drama yesterday, unfortunately. Kyle, I called...
with Kevin McGonigal.
I called Kevin McGonigal boring. And I stand by it. As a baseball player, he's phenomenal. We all know how good Kevin McGonigal is. He's setting rookie records left and right, more hits, more multi-hit games than Aaron Judge. You got to go back to like Al Kaline to have a rookie season for the Tigers that's as good as what McGonigal is putting together. We all know how phenomenal of a baseball player Kevin McGonigal is. He's not a boring baseball player. I do think he is a boring personality. I think Riley Green is a boring personality. I think Dylan Dingler is a boring personality. Max Clark is anything but a boring personality. He wears the chains. He has the tattoos. He has the bleached hair. He's got the swag. He's got the aura. I stand by what I said. I think people misconstrued it to think of it as something else, that his style of baseball is boring. And that's not necessarily what I meant, but I do think Kevin McGonigal has a very straightforward...
From a personality standpoint, you're saying.
Yeah, he's not ever going to give you a spicy quote. He's going to show up, do his job, lead by example. And that's all the reasons we love Kevin McGonigal. You know who else is boring? Jared Goff. And I think Jared Goff is a damn good quarterback in the NFL. And by the way, I want my quarterbacks to be boring. I don't want them to be all flashy and Jackson dart this thing up and all of a sudden he's introducing a controversial president. Like, keep my quarterback away from...
Can't you be flashy without doing all that, though?
Yeah, but like, I don't want my quarterback in the spotlight, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't want that. Stay away from the attention. I don't want your name in all this off-season
so you
drama.
must love Bryce Underwood.
We'll get to Bryce Underwood later on in the show.
Here's what I'll say.
Baseball players are a little bit different. I think I want some of those guys on my team, though. It makes the game more exciting, and Max Clark certainly brings that to the table. I'm excited to see him.
I don't disagree with the fact that you say, Kevin McGonigal is boring. He doesn't have aura or whatever the phrase is. The issue is, I know you're not meaning it to diss him. Calling a guy boring is a diss. It just is.
Is it not true, though?
I just said that. I get why you're saying it. I don't disagree. But it is dissing the guy. So the second you diss Kevin McGonigal, yeah, the Tigers fans are going to have an issue with it. The Tigers fans are going to clap back a little bit. And that's exactly what happened.
I don't think it is a diss. Like,
it
do you think
dude.
Jared
if I
Goff
walked
would
up right
tell
up to
him
you,
he's
Ben,
a diss?
Ben, if I walked up to you, like, dude, you're boring. Like, you're good at what you do, but you're boring. You're going to take that as a diss. You just
I would take that as a diss because my entire job is built on entertaining an audience.
And
so
is
yeah,
Kevin
that would be a
McGonigal's
problem.
not?
No, Kevin McGonigal's is to be good at baseball.
His
and get
entire
hits.
job is entertaining an audience much larger than yours.
No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think Kevin McGonigal's entire job is entertainment.
30,000 fans.
It's to win baseball games. Like Scooble, that's entertaining because he shows a personality on the mound, right? He gets all excited. He screams when he's coming off the mound. Riley Green hits a ton of home runs. Doesn't have any, like, eccentric celebrations or anything like that. Very even-keel guy. Kevin McGonigal, the definition of an even-keel guy. I think if you called Jared Goff boring, he'd be like, yeah, I am. I'm not trying to cause any drama. I just want to show up and do my job and lead by example.
I think he probably would take that approach, too. I actually don't think Goff is as boring as people say, though.
He's got a little goofiness to him.
I think he's got some swag.
The Halloween
he's funny,
costumes.
too. Like, he's got, like, a good amount of humor to him.
But he doesn't, like, similar to the way that Goff doesn't want the cameras on him. He doesn't want the attention on him. And I think that's a good thing. I think Kevin McGonigal's in that same situation. Like, yeah, I don't need any of that stuff. I just want to go play baseball.
See what the All-Star game, though?
McGonigal?
Dude had the buffs on?
Did have the buffs on. He
That's
wanted
not
to show
boring
up
to
looking
me,
fresh.
man. That's not boring to me.
Max Clark takes it to an entirely different level. Like, he knows the cameras are on. He wants to be a star. And as long as the baseball's backing that up, I have zero problem with that. And I think there is some excitement towards having a guy like that who's going to have a lot of attention on him, good or bad, on your baseball team. Javi Baez is like that to some degree. I think that's fun, and I'm excited to see what that looks like going forward. I got slammed yesterday for calling Kevin McGonigal boring. I do think his personality is a little bit boring, and that's fine.
I don't disagree. I think he is like compared to across all of baseball, yeah, he would lean on the boring side of things just from the personality standpoint. But I get the outrage. I get the uproar because calling a guy boring is just a diss. It just is.
You think Aaron Judge is a boring personality?
No. I don't think so. I think when you become a superstar too, you just like automatically, like, do you think Ohtani's boring?
Depends if he's with this translator.
He has like no personality at all. And yet he is absolutely not boring. Once you get to a certain level of superstardom, you're just like not boring.
Yeah, I don't think Ohtani's boring.
Yeah, Ohtani does have
He-
some personality. He's pretty goofy.
He is goofy. He also is like mythical to some degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's
he
what I'm
walks
saying.
out and you're just like, oh my God. Like that's Ohtani. He's got something to him where I don't think a lot of other players have it like that.
That's okay. Yeah, maybe he was a bad example.
But I think there are some other players that, stars that it's like, he doesn't really give us a whole lot. Doesn't really show us too much emotion. I don't think Kevin McGonigal is ever going to be a guy who shows us a ton of emotion. And I think that's fine. Max Clark, for sure, will be a guy who shows us emotion. He'll for sure bring a little bit of extra flair to the Tigers.
And I think will be a good contrast. Like, I think it will work well with McGonigal.
Yeah. I think, and especially now that Skubal is more than likely on the way out the door, they need a guy with a little personality. They need a guy to spark the team, to get everyone riled up a little bit, because it feels like they don't really have any of those guys in the clubhouse right now.
And you said, Javi and Clark are the Drip brothers?
Yeah, maybe the most middle school thing I've ever said. But I stand by it.
I think it's good, man.
989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on the Mitt. Max Clark, of course, making his debut for the Tigers tonight over in, the Homeless A's Stadium. Where are they playing these days? I think Sacramento. Yeah. I'm going to continue to call them the Homeless A's. Kyle Whittingham had some controversial things to say about Ohio State when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
100.9 The Mid, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
All right, welcome back in. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. Let's put a pin on Tarek Skubal. More than glad to be honest. Kyle Whittingham had some things to say yesterday. A lot of things to say yesterday, to be quite honest. And none of which caught Michigan fans' attentions the same way that it did when he talked about Ohio State yesterday. The game, the rivalry, the best rivalry that we have in all of college football. He did emphasize on ESPN that he does believe that. But he wants to take it one day at a time. Where he is going to piss off some Michigan fans is when he talks about how the rivalry shouldn't necessarily have hatred in it. Says, quote, I just think that a rivalry can be intense and emotional without the hatred factor. I think Ryan Day is a good person. And to sit here and say I hate Ryan Day, I'd be making that crap up. It's not true. Oh, boy. You know you're going to rub Michigan fans the wrong way when you say this. I think you have to understand that. But Kyle Whittingham is an adult. Kyle Whittingham has 30 years under his belt coaching in the college level. I don't think he necessarily cares what media and what people online are saying about him. Sure, he might care what the fans, think about him and view the program, but I don't think he cares about what people are saying on Twitter or Instagram about him after that quote. He's an adult in the room. I look at this entire Ohio State-Michigan rivalry and what it's been the last 5 years, the 4 years that Michigan won, plus last year with Ohio State finally getting it done with the crappy Michigan offense and Sharon Moore, obviously having some distractions elsewhere. I'm glad that Kyle Whittingham is almost de-emphasizing the game in a lot of ways because we saw Ohio State overemphasize what it should look like in the hatred and preparing 365 days a year for that Ohio State-Michigan game. And look what it got them. They overemphasized it and they got in their own way. They got in their own heads. The attention to detail was off, and Michigan was doing all the small stuff that was able to lead to victories. Like the 2024 one, 13-10, still one of the most outrageous wins we've ever seen Michigan have. There was no way they should have won that game. They won it because Ohio State was in their own way. They clouded their own vision because they put too much emphasis on that game. Here's the thing. Michigan versus Ohio State, these Michigan players, whether their head coach is feeding it to them or not, they're going to feel the pressure. They're going to hear about it on campus. They're going to be well aware of what this game means to the program by the outside noise. They're all 19, 20, 21, 22, some cases 24-year-old kids. They're online. They see what it means, okay? The last thing I want is for their head coach to also be feeding them all of that information and forgetting the details. Kyle Whittingham is a professional. He knows what he's doing. He's an adult. Let the outside sources and let the kids across campus feed these players how important this game is. They'll get it no matter what. What I want Kyle Whittingham to do is keep them focused, keep them on their tracks, right? Keep pushing forward, attention to detail, so we know for a fact they are prepared as ever when it comes to that Ohio State game. There's not an overemphasis. We have to beat Ohio State. They'll get that, They don't need that from their head coach necessarily. They'll get that from their assistants. They'll maybe get that from Kyle Whittingham at some point game day. But he doesn't strike me as a rah-rah guy. He strikes me as a guy who's going to have his team as prepared as anybody in the entire country. Nick Saban used to always say, one game at a time. What is the next game going to look like? Okay, they can start emphasizing the Ohio State game come the Ohio State week. Because if you are 365, Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State, what is that going to get you? It's going to get you not as hyped up for the Oregon game week 12, which Michigan could very well be undefeated at going into that week if they are able to beat Ohio State. There's obviously going to be a lot of pressure when it comes to what Kyle Whittingham and his expectations are for this Michigan team heading into this year. Second year of Bryce Underwood, all eyes are going to be on him. He's obviously made some comments that haven't struck people the right way over the past week or so as well. But right now, simply looking at Ohio State, simply looking at the game, Kyle Whittingham clearly is not taking any hatred into Ohio State. He's not going to push this team to hate their opponent. He's going to force his opponent to respect him because while Ohio State emphasized the game way too much, they kept losing. Then the year they lost, because it was the most ridiculous loss of all time, Michigan was unranked. They were an awful team. Guess what? They went on to win the national championship. And that right there is when Ryan Day realized we shouldn't be emphasizing this game to the degree that we're doing. So let's take a step back. It's not like it's just some other game, but we're going to focus on all of these games the same way. And then what happened last year? Ohio State shows up and kicks Michigan's teeth in. They started just going back to the basics. Let's treat this game as if it's another game, and the talking and the game and the rivalry will speak for itself come game time. The campus, they'll do that enough. Online, they'll do that enough. It doesn't need to come from the head coach. So I'm perfectly fine with Kyle Whittingham saying all of these things. I also think Kyle Whittingham doesn't care what we're saying about him, which is a good thing. They brought an adult into the room. Now, him saying, I think Ryan Day's a good person. I think, there's nothing to say that I hate Ryan Day. I think he'll learn to, because it'll take one loss to Ohio State at any point in Kyle Whittingham's tenure to understand, oh yeah, this can't happen again. And once he gets that taste, he'll understand, because there are some crazy Michigan fans out there. If Kyle Whittingham were to lose this game, they'll want him fired. There are crazy Michigan fans out there that think beating Ohio State is more important than a national championship. I think that's insane, but those people out there do exist. So he'll feel the pressure with one loss to Ohio State, whether that's this year, next year, 3 years from now. He'll understand what it feels like eventually. I am perfectly fine with focusing on the process rather than the actual game itself for the time being, though. I had no problem with what he was saying. I'm glad they have an adult in the room to keep this Michigan team focused and on track every step of the year, whether it's the Ohio State week or not. I think overemphasizing that game can get you in trouble, and we saw that from Ryan Day over the past 5 seasons. The year he finally cleans it up is the year they devalued the game a little bit. Again, the game will always be the best rivalry. You don't need your head coach to feed into it, because everyone else will do that for you. I took no issue with Kyle Whittingham saying that about the rivalry. You?
I don't, but I guess I kind of do. But from the perspective that you're talking about, I agree. The Big Ten is filled with, we're talking about boring in the last segment, right? It is filled with a bunch of egotistical head coaches that are all about the spotlight. They're all about the headlines. They're all about the quotes. The Dan Lannings of the world, Ryan Days, you can go on and on. I honestly think Pat Fitzgerald is going to fit into that group of guys that are here to say funny stuff and here to say stuff that make the headlines. Bag of chips on the shoulders, at Lincoln Riley. You have all of these guys. Kyle Whittingham is boring, and that's good for Michigan.
Yep.
Michigan needs the boring guy right now, because the previous guy was anything but. He was the guy that cried on TV when Jim Harbaugh, you would have thought he was assassinated live on television, the way that Sharon Moore reacted to that. And then obviously everything that happened, they need a guy that's boring. They need a guy that's going to stay out of the headlines and this and that.
And
however,
make boys into men. That
yeah.
I think is what Kyle Whittingham will do more than anything.
Now, to the point that you said that, Kyle Whittingham knows that this is maybe going to rub some Michigan fans the wrong way, but he doesn't care what people think. Agree that he doesn't care what people think. Does he know that this is going to rub Michigan fans the wrong way?
Maybe not.
Because this is year one. And he says he recognizes, this is the biggest rivalry in college football, but, we're going to take every game at a time. I'm old school. We're not going to worry about that game till it gets here.
I think Ryan Day's a good person.
You can say I recognize this is the biggest rivalry in college football. You're a part of it, though, man. And the Michigan fans you do need to recognize what the Michigan fans want to hear. You do need to say, no, we are going to beat Ohio State. Goals of the season, beating Ohio State is one of them. It just is. Because you want to know what's a goal for the guys on the other side, down south? Beating the team up north. Ohio State's number one goal all year is beating Michigan. And after that, it's national championship, it's this and that. And they're going to answer it that way every year. And I obviously understand that some people don't think that that's the right priority for how it should go, but that is how it is for them. And it probably should be the same for the team in Ann Arbor. Also, Kyle Whittingham comes from Utah, coached there for a long time. You said he's been there 30 years, he doesn't care what people think. I agree. What's his biggest rivalry? Utah, BYU? Can he recognize that rivalry? Kyle Whittingham went to BYU. He played football at BYU and then coached their biggest rival for the last 12 years or whatever it was. We're talking about rivalry here. That guy doesn't have any aspect of a rivalry if that's what it is for him. Now you're going into Michigan, Ohio State? This is different. We're in the big leagues now. Even for a guy that has been here forever, this is much, much different. And so I don't disagree that yes, this is the kind of coach that Michigan needs in the moment based off of everything that has happened the last couple of years. However, you've got to recognize you need to add some ounce of hatred towards Ohio State. Saying, oh, hate's a strong word. What? This team doesn't use the letter M in the week of the Michigan. Like, they don't use one of the 26 letters in the alphabet. Are you kidding me?
I think if you say our number one goal this year is to beat Ohio State,
that doesn't need to be it. You don't need to go out. Like, he wasn't required to say, oh, I actually like Ryan Day. Why do you have to say that?
Yeah. You're right about that. You're going a little bit too far. But I think when the coaches come in, a brand new coach is like, well, our number one goals this year are to beat Ohio State and win the Big Ten. It's like, okay, one of those comes with the other. And like, if you're number one, you're setting yourself up to where one game determines your entire season. And I don't think that should be the case. And I know a lot of Michigan fans are out there thinking like, well, if we don't beat Ohio State, it's a failure of your season. Okay, man, if you go 11-1 and lose to Ohio State and win a few playoff games, it's a win of a season. For a first-year head coach, I think you set yourself up for no matter what happens for the first 12 weeks of the season, this one game is going to determine, like, it's just a really tough tightrope to walk. And I get it, the emphasis of this game. I wouldn't have just gone out of my way to say I think Ryan Day's a good person either. But I do love the fact that they are going to take this day by day, keep focused the entire season. There's no need to talk about Ohio State week one or in the offseason necessarily. We're just going to take it week by week with our opponents and continue to stay focused and focus on the details. If Ohio State wants to overvalue the game and be thinking about it 365 days of the year, then I think it will cloud their vision, as we saw for those 4 years when they kept losing to Jim Harbaugh, because Jim Harbaugh, emphasis on the detail. They are going to continue, and knowing what play is coming as well. Now you're going into a Kyle Whittingham system where it's, we're going to outwork you, we're going to be prepared, we're going to have attention to detail.
I think all that stuff's going to happen.
I love all that stuff.
I agree. I just think that there is some negative that comes with the not listening or caring to what the fans or media have to say, because it's the Ohio State stuff that he said paired with the Michigan State stuff that he said. The quote from Whittingham when asked about the Michigan State-Michigan rivalry, reminder that when asked about the Ohio State rivalry, he basically just blew it off. He says, quote, in some ways, this is more important than the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry, with the in-state supremacy factored and being the best team in the state of Michigan. So it'll obviously be a heavy emphasis placed on it.
You know who's the big winner from that quote?
Michigan State?
Yeah, they're like, oh my God.
Wait, seriously?
We got acknowledged.
Wait, you guys care about the Paul Bunyan Trophy, actually? I didn't realize.
It was like the first time that Michigan has ever addressed them. They've always just ignored Little Brother, and Little Bro was like, oh, let's go. They talked about us.
This is one of those times where it's like, hey, Whittingham, you probably should have talked to one Michigan fan before answering that question.
Yeah,
because the Ohio State rivalry is 10x the Michigan State one, and everybody knows that, and the Michigan State fans know that. So I guess they kind of get a dub here as well. Did you see when he was asked about Urban Meyer, too?
Yeah, he loves Urban. They're good friends. He said he would have him up in Ann Arbor for a practice.
They asked him, they said, is Urban Meyer allowed to come to practice? And he said, if Urban wants to come to practice, he can come every week except for one. Urban Meyer will be there that week, man. Fox is on the game. He'll be there.
Yeah.
Whittingham's first appearance after being hired at Michigan was on the podcast with Urban Meyer. Those guys are boys.
They coached together at Utah. I don't expect them to not be all of a sudden.
He took over for him at Utah. They're super tight. I just think it's hilarious. It adds into the Ohio State flavor of things. And I think it is going to make some Michigan fans a little bit like, oh, I like this guy. He's the right guy. He's the right coach. But I kind of wish he didn't like Ryan Day.
I think we are getting out of the hate era and getting into the respect era. I think it's more important for Kyle Whittingham and his opponents to I think he wants his opponents to respect them.
I think we're more into the hate era than ever right now. The Big Ten and the SEC literally hate each other.
I'm talking specifically with this rivalry. I think Kyle Whittingham doesn't want to hate Ohio State. He wants Ohio State to respect them. He wants his opponents to respect them and know that if they lost, it's because we had a better. Not only did we. It's not we went out there and dominated them and snatched their souls. It's we out executed them. And I think that's exactly what Michigan needs.
What's better, the hatred aspect or the respect thing? Because I think nothing gets a fan more excited, and maybe this isn't even the fan's perspective that we should be looking for here, but nothing gets a fan more pumped up than when the coach is like, yeah, we want to kill them. We do not mess with them. We want to destroy that team.
I think you're correct that gets the fan base the most excited. I think winning trumps everything. And if Kyle Whittingham's attention to detail game plan is going to cause Michigan to beat Ohio State, like at the end of the day, all this stuff that we're saying, it doesn't matter. Are you going to beat them or not?
Yeah.
Are you going to beat Ohio State or not?
And honestly, it could be best case scenario if they do win, because if Whittingham beats Ohio State after he's just like, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's like a good rivalry and everything.
Drive Ryan Day insane.
It's like he basically doesn't really care about it that much, and he wins in year one. Yeah, that would be the ultimate win.
What if this is just mind games? It's like lulling Ohio State to sleep.
Yeah, the Ohio State game is cool, but like the Michigan State game that's the one.
Yeah, and now Ohio State's stomping their fist like, what are they saying?
What is he talking about?
What are they talking about?
He didn't say that.
989-837-6125. What is your reaction to Kyle Whittingham devaluing the Ohio State game? It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Show, as always, is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. The 10 o'clock hour is brought to you by Aired Insurance. Tired of your insurance being in a worse position than your fantasy football team? After week 3, Aired Insurance Group steps in like a clutch pinch hitter and gets you into a better insurance position with coverage that actually fits your life. Give them a follow on social media. You'll learn something, maybe laugh a little, and definitely stop overpaying for insurance that's striking out.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, 989-837-6125. I have no problem with it. I do with Kyle Whittingham devaluing the Ohio State game a little bit. The outside noise will feed into that. You know, you want your head coach to keep the team focused, keep the team on the tracks, attention to detail, continue to, treat it like not. They will know it's not just every other week. They don't need their head coach telling them that. They need their head coach keeping them focused on track. And I have no problem with him saying, yeah, we'll treat the Ohio State game like every other game because they'll get the outside noise. I do have a little bit of problem with some of the Bryce Underwood. Like, we don't have to do a full deep dive into it, but Bryce Underwood PR offseason, I'd give it like a C minus, like a C to B plus.
I'd give it like a C plus or a B. Because B minus just doesn't exist, I guess.
It hasn't been a phenomenal offseason for Bryce Underwood in terms of his public relations with, anytime there's a camera in front of him. I don't know who told him to post that video of him doing running back workouts and then throwing sidearm throws as he's fading away. But whoever he should just cut that person from his circle immediately. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Bryce Underwood, doing running back drills. It's like, what am I watching right now? I don't care if he can run the football. We all know he can run the football. Can you throw the football?
I would not even classify that as running back drills. That was just
I don't know what that
dancing around on a football field.
I don't even know what drill that was. Regardless, obviously we all know Bryce Underwood is a freak athlete.
Dude was doing the Harlem Shake in football form.
He's a freak man-child. Can you throw the football? And that question, and can you lead the team? Those questions are not answered yet. And just based on some of the quotes that he's had this offseason and some of the videos that have been posted and saying that he wants to be the greatest quarterback of all time to ever come out of Michigan, look, I'm not going to dump on the kid all that much because I think it's a little bit too early to do that. However, this has always been the very first example of a kid getting $12 million and getting the ultimate bag before he did anything of value. He got $12 million as an 18-year-old walking into his first year of college. And I wouldn't say that first year went overwhelmingly great. So there was always the example of, always the thought of, is this guy just going to get his money and that's just going to be it? And I don't think that's the case. I don't think he's just done getting better and doesn't care anymore. That's not what I'm saying. But this is a social experiment. Bryce Underwood is a guinea pig for a kid getting that amount of money and there being such high expectations on him. I would say there might be more expectation put upon Bryce Underwood than even an Arch Manning because of the money that he got paid. Now, Manning's got the name to him and another number one overall recruit.
Arch Manning's being paid nothing. He's being paid pretty high as well.
But the $12 million for a guy to come back home and the whole drama with the LSU.
True freshman, too.
True freshman, and how much turmoil there was in that decision to flip from LSU to come back to Michigan, and how, Dave Portnoy and some of these other people got involved in this. This is a guinea pig experience, and I am very fascinated to see how this thing goes. I wouldn't say it was his best offseason in terms of PR. I'm not going to dump on the kid too early, but there are definitely some things to just kind of stash away, like him answering the question of what's your number one goal for the year and immediately saying win the Heisman rather than beat Ohio State or win the Big Ten, make the playoffs.
Like a team goal,
Just very quickly
anything about the team.
Win the Heisman.
But yet his leadership has been very improved this offseason. That's what he said.
That is
ever
what he
since
said.
Kyle Whittingham has shown up, leadership has been his best thing. Okay.
It does feel as if a PR team sat down with Bryce before media day and was basically went through what are the super fast trainings called? Went through a
accelerated training program.
Yeah, in 2 hours. It's this is what you can and can't say, because every answer he gave was one sentence. It's what about your leadership skills? Oh yeah, that was one of the number one things that me and Kyle Whittingham talked about. At first I stayed, and then the goal was to talk about being a leader, and that's something I want to work on going into this year. And then he just stares. It's oh.
Wait, so him staying at Michigan is an example of leadership?
He's a young kid. He's 19 years old.
I will say, though, I do respect when they asked him to give a grade for his freshman year, him saying the C+/B. Well, I know he skipped a B-, but I think that's a fair thing to say. You know, if it really would have been, if he would have been like, oh, I give myself an A. Like, I thought I, like, really performed well last year.
Yeah, that would have been a
If he would have said
massive red
that, it
flag.
would have been like, okay, man. Like, something's really going on here. So I respect that. Because
You're
I
not
think
just going to dump on yourself
I think
and
that's
give
totally
yourself a
fair.
D.
Yeah, I think the C+ grade is completely fair to say.
Oh, I thought it sounded like you were going to say, but.
No, I think it is fair.
I have always taken the stance that because Kyle Whittingham is taking over a program that was obviously in such a disastrous mess, and because Bryce Underwood didn't even have a quarterbacks coach last year, and his like number one voice in his head was Sharon Moore, who had his voice in some other heads that he shouldn't have been involved with, clearly a distracted human being. I've always said, like, yeah, just getting professionals and a real offensive coordinator and a real quarterbacks coach in the building, he's going to be better than he was last season. It almost feels like a miracle that this team won 9 games with everything that was going on in the background last year. The only thing that would prevent him from, like, taking that leap is this guy wired the right way between the ears? And I think we are TBD on that. I'm not ruling it out and saying that, yeah, this guy's
And I think it's
incapable
more
of
likely
the
than not
intangibles.
that he is. You know, like, he doesn't show signs of a crazy person. He shows signs of a 19-year-old.
Correct.
Which is what he is.
And he certainly, like, we talk about the boring individuals. He's not someone who's boring. Like, I think he likes
He's kind of flashy. I think
he's flashy.
Like,
he knows he's a star. He knows what comes with him. He knows he's the guy who got paid. Like,
when we did the aura question yesterday, like, Bryce Underwood, if it was expanded to college athletes, he's got the most aura of any college athlete.
in the state, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Colin Carr a little bit.
No.
But for sure Bryce, though, yeah.
Colin Carr has it until you have to see him take a jump shot. Bryce Underwood,
Act like Bryce Underwood is a perfect quarterback.
no, you watch him throw the football, and it's like, ugh. Like, is he willing to acknowledge his faults and hit the, like, because it kind of feels like he thinks he's perfect and set for greatness, and there's nothing
I don't
that
think he
can
thinks
get
that.
I don't. Maybe perfect isn't the right word, but it feels he's
confident.
I get the vibe. Yes, obviously he's confident. I get the sense that he thinks he is destined for greatness no matter what because of his physical abilities. Is that fair to say? Like, it feels like he has no doubt in his mind, like, I will be great. Okay, are you willing to put the work in? Are you willing to do the small stuff, do the film reviews to actually get to that point? Because he is one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks that we've seen in college in a long time. Guess what? So is Anthony Richardson, and that guy's sitting on a bench in an NFL team right now. Can you take that next step and actually become a quarterback? Because we know he's an athlete, and we know he's going to be a problem in the run game. Kyle Whittingham emphasized that, wants to get him involved in that.
Yeah.
Can you actually play quarterback? That is all up in the air right now. Can you lead the team? That is all up in the air right now. I'm very, like, obviously, without being, it doesn't even need to be said. Across Michigan or Michigan State, he's the most fascinating character going into this season, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, he might be the most fascinating character going into football this year.
More than any other Lion? Yep. Honestly, probably.
Like, we know about all the Lions, and all the guys that we're intrigued about are all the under-the-radar guys. We're not sitting here like Jared Goff going into this year, man, he's up in the air. It's Bryce, man.
Bryce is not a soft-spoken character. Bryce is not someone who's, like, boring. He knows when those mics are on, and not that he's, like, attention-seeking or anything like that.
And, like, straight up, Michigan was the national champs 2 years ago and have gone back-to-back seasons of not making the playoff after it got expanded to 12 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that, they need to get back to the playoff. They straight up have to. And I'll end it with this. The last Whittingham quote that we didn't get to, that I was like, this was the one that I was put off the most about. Kyle Whittingham, when asked about just his expectation, how he feels about the team, he says he likes his football team, but isn't sure how good the Wolverines will be in year one. Quote, if we're playing meaningful games in November, then that's probably a successful season. Why would you
It's a
not
low
just
bar.
say? Why
It's a
would
low
you not
bar.
just say compete to win the Big Ten, make the college football playoff? Why would that not just be what you say there? Playing meaningful games in week 9?
I mean, I get why you don't say it because, I mean, the Ohio State game's in November. I get why you don't say it because if you say that and then you miss the playoffs or don't win the Big Ten, like, people can hold it against you.
Sure,
And no
like,
matter what, you'll be playing meaningful games in November. Just kind of how the schedule works out. Like, if you beat, even if you lose to Oklahoma week 2, like, you're probably going into the Oregon game week 12 with a.
You're playing meaningful games in
8-1
November.
record.
Like, they just are.
Correct.
So to say that's the gauge for success, I think it's just.
Yeah, I would like that
Man.
bar to be a little bit higher, and maybe within the building it is. Again, like I just don't think Kyle Whittingham's a big like. I want to like again, very boring personality. I don't think he's like trying to be like put us. There's no reason for him to have to put Michigan on the map. Yeah, our goal is to do this, like the same way that a Kirk Cignetti had to do it at some point to get people to pay attention to Indiana. People are going to pay attention to Michigan no matter what, and with all the negative attention that's been on Michigan
that's what
for
I was
the
going to
past
say.
couple of
People are
years.
paying attention to Michigan for that. They're not paying attention to them because they were the national champs 2 years ago.
So I don't think he necessarily has to paint a target on Michigan's back and we're gonna be back in the playoffs, and then it's like a black and white grade of the season. And when ultimately like it probably is a black and white grade of the season at the end of it, but preseason I don't think they gain anything from that. And I know I'm like kind of coming to defend Kyle Whittingham a lot here today.
I just think flipping the script of what people view Michigan right now in this current moment, because it has just been straight negativity over the last year and a half, whatever we want to call it, even this offseason with all the Ward Manual stuff. Like, flipping that script with the football team should be the number one goal. And doing that is being good.
And I think Bryce and I think Kyle Whittingham is deflecting any sort of attention that's coming towards the program right now. Even the Ohio State stuff, I know that like kind of turned and got attention brought to him the wrong way.
To do it that way, yeah.
But like it's way better. It's way less attention than if you were to say like, we want to murder, we want to kill Ohio State. If you would have taken the opposite approach, like I never want to lose to those guys. I used to be friends with Ryan Day. I'm never talking to him again. I'm cutting off Urban Meyer. Like that would have drawn a lot more attention than what he said, and he was just honest. I think it's probably a good thing that Kyle Whittingham is deflecting all attention off of him in the Michigan program, because they will get it enough with Bryce Underwood and obviously everything that's happened to Michigan over the past couple of years. 989.
Real quick, Ben, while we head into a break, a little bit of breaking news, not worth playing the sounder.
I know, that is exactly what we're going to talk about next. How's that for a tease? 989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Show, as always, is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. 10 o'clock hours brought to you by Aired Insurance. If you have boring floors or a sad shower, Premier Tile and Stone is here to rescue your surfaces from the snooze zone. These folks turn tile into art, kitchens, bathrooms, backsplashes, fireplaces. If it holds still, they'll tile it beautifully. Locally owned in Midland, but their work looks like it belongs in a magazine that charges $15 an issue. Stop dreaming and start scheming. Visit the showroom and let your inner interior designer run wild. It's Premier Tile and Stone, where your floor gets fabulous and grout gets glorious.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
By Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
As we said going to break, a little bit of breaking news. Casey Mize is no longer going to be starting today as a precaution against the trade. He's scheduled to start, has always been scheduled to start today. So just in case they end up moving him, they're pulling them from the lineup, and it's going to be a bullpen day. My question is, why did they not do this with Tarek Skubal? Is it simply because they wanted to let him get his 100th strikeout, or is it because they truly had not decided they were sellers until they lost that game and blew a 7-0 lead? I think that's probably the more likely option.
Both, honestly, which both are just the worst answer ever. I thought the same thing. I thought, like, okay, so they're doing this with Mize, so does this mean they're not trading Skubal
Or
because
is there
they didn't do it with Skubal, or they legit were under the stance that after this loss on Wednesday, they decided, yeah, let's become sellers now.
Or is there a third option where they truly do not trust Casey Mize to be out there and not get hurt?
Yeah, that could be fair. I mean, Casey Mize he's probably had 3 to 4 different injury scares this year. I mean, even in his previous or 2 starts ago, he had the injury scare. So, yeah, this one is I respect the Tigers doing this 1,000%. This probably should have been done with Skubal, but I get it. Last start, you want to sell out the crowd. This is on a road game. You're on the road out west. Nobody cares. It was Skubal's 1,000th K. I understand the aspects of it. This is a good move. Mize's now technical scheduled start is Tuesday, the day after the trade deadline. So this is what happened with Jack Flaherty 2 years ago as well.
It does make me think that maybe the Tigers aren't just going to sell Tarek Skubal. This is going to be a full-fledged fire sale of
sure hope
Skubal, Mize, Glaber. That's kind of the big three. They can't really move Flaherty right now with him on the IL.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
they technically
still
can,
think,
but
like some relievers could be dealt. You're not going to get much for them, but Kenley Jansen, I think, could easily get traded. I think Drew Anderson could easily get traded. Rogers was another guy, but obviously he already got traded.
Yeah. Yeah, I applaud this move. I think the Tigers are smart to do this, especially with a guy like Casey Mize. It's just more and more evidence that they're obviously going to sell here. I think as of Monday, they didn't know. I think the Jake Rogers sign was DFA was the first sign. I think the Skubal loss basically sealed the deal. And now the Tigers are essentially telling us, yeah, we're going to be big-time sellers here at the deadline. And I also, I don't know, I wouldn't guarantee that Casey Mize gets traded, but now it does seem like they're leaning a little bit more towards let's just get rid of all the expiring contracts and cash in and try to, capitalize and dictate our future with selling the best left-handed arm, selling the best right-handed arm, selling maybe the best right-handed bat that all gets moved at this year's deadline, and add on to our really, really strong foundational core as, the core players on this team, whether it be the pitchers or the hitters. Hopefully Max Clark is also a part of that. If you can add a couple more guys to that core by trading away all these expiring contracts, I think it's a good deadline. And I think it's not going to be a full teardown rebuild like it was after Justin Verlander. Like, if that's your claim, you think, because the Tigers are selling Skubal like 10 straight, 15 straight years of not making the playoffs, like they're just setting themselves up for failure. Like, you got to look around and look at the rest of this roster. It is good. It's not just about building towards the future. It's good right now, and it just happened to be a terrible May, and that's why they have to move Tarek Skubal. And if they can continue to add foundational pieces to their team, this is going to be a really strong deadline. However, as we stated in the open of this show, I don't have all that much confidence that Scott Harris is able to land any players that end up being foundational pieces of this team.
Yeah, this got me excited. Honestly, this has me pumped up because I wanted it to be more than just the Skubal trade. This is a pretty clear sign now. I think that the Tigers are at least entertaining the idea of being big-time sellers at the deadline, and the fact that that's being entertained at all has got me pretty pumped up. This does not mean they're going to trade Casey Mize today or tonight, obviously. This is just as a precaution, so it's the smart thing to do. The Tigers haven't been making a lot of smart organizational moves, so it's nice to at least get one of them here.
What's the dumbest thing they've done so far? Because I still stand on the
letting the games this week decide the fate of their future.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
If that's the true thing that happened. Now, obviously, they could have just said that. I don't even understand the ploy to say that, though. Like, I kept trying to talk myself into, well, maybe it was just a way for them to, say that maybe them saying it
true.
Drives up the price for Tarek Skubal. There isn't even that there. So, yeah, that is the dumbest thing of all, is letting these random games at the end of July decide the next 5 years. That's the dumbest thing they've done so far.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think when you inevitably lose the games and all of a sudden it's like, okay, fine, we'll sell.
Like, what if they won the game? What if they just took 2 of 3 with Baltimore?
Then I would that again. That they forced us to have to root against this team. I never want to do that, but because they were so wishy-washy about which way they were going to go at this year's deadline, it forced us to be like, okay, then I want you to lose. Screw off. Then I want you to lose. And that's what happened, and now they're obviously in a position where we're selling, and them scratching Casey Mize is more evidence of that. But you're right. If they were to just won the series against Baltimore, we would still be pulling our hair out not knowing what this team is going to be doing at the deadline. That is such a bad way of going about everything. 989-837-6125. I know we just took one. We got to take one more, and then we come back. More on Scott Harris and the lack of faith in him to start at the 11 o'clock hour. More football when we return. It's the Ben Bosscher Show here on the Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
coming without no money, girl. Come on.
Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
You know, we had it on the docket today, so we may as well get it in. Let's go towards a little NFL. I like to call it a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
All right, Kyle. I'm going to start naming some fantasy players. I know we're gearing up towards fantasy football. If you're a real fantasy footballer, you're doing your homework right now, right? Like,
I haven't really started yet. This is like when I'm about to start, though.
Yeah. So consider this an opportunity to learn a little. So I'm going to start naming players in their ADP, their average draft position, and you start telling me, and we can just discuss it, whether or not this is a good or bad player to take at that point. All right? Let's go with a rookie to start things out. Last year, Genty is this very much like in the first round running back. Well, I think people learned a little bit. Jeremiah Love, average draft position, second rounder, the 8th running back off the board. Are you taking Jeremiah Love in this year's, let's call it all redraft? Are you taking Jeremiah Love in the second round?
I think so, just because last year, the rookie running back that went high was Ashton Genty. He was a end of first round, early second round guy, a much higher ADP. He was like just a borderline top 5 running back drafted. And it's not like he had a bad year, but it certainly was not. He did not live up to his draft position last year. And so that gives a little bit of a discount to Love. I also just think the fact that he's in Arizona gives him a little bit more under the radar. They took him 3rd overall, man. It took him 3rd overall and drafted him into an offense that there has just been a workhorse running back in the last X amount of years. And I think this offense is going to be, like, not good, but they're going to be fun. Like, Jacoby Brissett airs it out, man. They give a lot of passing down work to their running backs, whether it's been James Conner, Trey Benson was there for a couple games last year. Like, this has always been a good team to have the running back for because they'll get all the opportunity. It's a little scary that they signed Tyler Algier. That's kind of sketchy, but...
You know what I think is more sketchy than that? the fact that this team passed more than anybody in the NFL to close
But
last
it didn't
year.
matter. Like, even when they were passing, they're passing to their running back as well. Like, James Conner was pretty awesome in fantasy last year when healthy. And whatever running back they ended up starting on a week-to-week basis was a startable player every week.
Startable isn't necessarily someone you want as your running back 2
Okay,
or
but
running back 1 for
You don't
that
get
option
what I'm
if
trying
you're
to
taking.
say, man. They had these random backup dudes put in the lineup, and you could start them comfortably. Now they have Jeremiah Love thrown in.
It's a fair point. I just really question the offensive line and what they're capable of doing. We saw this last year with Genty. I have no questions about Genty himself, but I think he's put in a really tough position. I think this Arizona situation is no different. There's a reason they were passing so much. It's because the offensive line is very poor. And I get it. He's going to get some work in the backfield as well. I don't think he'll be a terrible pick. I would just be hesitant to take a team, to take a player who got drafted to a team when we all dumped on the pick. We all couldn't believe that they took a running back that high when they had so many other needs that they need to address in the trenches. Poor organization, poorly run, bad decisions most of the time. I would pass on Jeremiah Love for the most part. How about Jalen Hurts, round 4 or 5, quarterback 5 taken off the board in your average ADP?
Yeah, I think I'm just willing to take the risk that Jalen Hurts is going to return to being a top 3 to 5 fantasy QB this year. Obviously, last year was a weirder one for Hurts. He's typically one of the best fantasy quarterbacks because the amount of rushing touchdowns that he gets. He's not going to throw a lot of passing yards. He's honestly not even going to get a lot of rushing yards either. It's just the 6 points for a rushing touchdown for a QB, and he almost leads the league in rushing touchdowns on a year-to-year basis. Now, obviously, last year was a bad year for Philadelphia. Team started to figure out the tush-push a little bit towards the end of the season. It didn't get banned. That's a good sign for Hurts and them going forward. They trade A.J. Brown. They fire their offensive coordinator. I think that's all fair. History shows you that having Hurts in fantasy, he's also extremely durable, which I think really matters for a guy that does the tush-push as much as he does as well. I think I would take Hurts at that spot. I like Hurts going into this year off of a little bit of a discount based off of how last year went.
It's certainly not a safe option because there are some weeks where Jalen Hurts has 150 passing yards, and if he doesn't find the end zone, it's a pretty big problem.
But in years past, that was like Hurts was so safe. He had such a high floor on a week-to-week basis in fantasy, and then still had the capability to have the ceiling. Last year was just it was an odd one.
You lose A.J. Brown, which I think has to matter to some degree. I know A.J. Brown wasn't getting the ball a whole lot, but still
Could
a
that
weapon
be good
that has
for the
to
offense,
be
though? Like, it was so much of a distraction that it hurt them?
potentially. I think when you
he's
take
a
away
great
an
player,
amazing
obviously,
player,
yeah.
it just, for the most part, makes you worse. I would take Jalen Hurts at this spot knowing that you get some, like, you're trying to win the league. You got to draft players that you think have boom potential, even if there's a little bit of bust potential too. So I would take Jalen Hurts here. How about David Montgomery in the 6th round as the running back 24? They kind of announced
6th round for Montgomery?
They announced secretly that he was
Come
going to be
on.
splitting time with who's the other running back over there? Woody Marks, who had a pretty terrible year
Man.
last year.
I might as well take my 6th round pick and throw it in the garbage can. It's a waste
You're
of a
out
pick.
on David
In
Montgomery.
the 6th round? Like, a 6th round is your flex. 6th round is your potential RB2.
What if he ends up as a top 15 running back this year?
I just don't believe that. I think he was so beneficial in a Lions system where he could, even with Gibbs, he was still a competent option, and that was getting him in the 12th round. Like, you are cutting his price in half this year as far as how high you have to draft him. I can't draft David Montgomery this high, especially after the Woody Mark stuff in a brand new offense, and he has gone up there in age a little bit. I love Montgomery, but in the 6th round,
And even last year,
I'm all set, man.
for the Lions, he was, for the most part, a non-factor with a bad offensive line. It's not like Houston's had a great offensive line as of late.
Yeah, I mean, even just their offense in general.
How about Malik Neighbors as a 4th-round running back, the 19th receiver off the board?
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Okay,
You take
go
Malik
for it.
Neighbors at this point, 19, and he hits, it's a game-winning draft pick. It's a league-winning draft pick. It doesn't really feel like he's healthy, though, at all.
No. I think it was like guaranteed he's going to start the year off injured. Here's what I'll say. You can give Malik Neighbors a 4th-round ADP all you want. He will not go in the 4th round in any of your fantasy drafts. He's a name that's like, he's going to be the guy that everyone's willing to take that late. which pushes his price into the third round. And that's when it's like, okay, like if I'm getting Malik Neighbors as my wide receiver 2, yeah, I'm taking that risk. I 1,000% am taking that risk. But everyone's going to be willing to take that risk. And so it's going to push his price into the third. And that's when things get a little bit sketchy of like, man, if he's going to miss the first 5 to 6 weeks of the year, potentially guaranteed, I don't know if I can take him that early. It's like Rashee Rice last year. He didn't go that early. So I would say no.
Let's go one more. Garrett Wilson, third-round receiver, wide receiver 12 off the board. This is one that I'm totally trying to avoid.
Yeah, I'm all set. We have way too much history of Garrett Wilson. It's not his fault. Great talent. Another year of him having a piss-poor quarterback. I just am not going to rely on that once again. For as high as he goes.
Plus, they draft 2 pass catchers in the draft this year in Kenyon Sadiq and Amar Cooper Jr. So
that's right.
All of a sudden, it's like, yeah, of course,
Geno,
Garrett
though,
is still the wide receiver 1, but like now there's another guy in the mix as well.
It's better than when they had Fields, but still, I'm just no chance.
He's a good flex option. I don't think he can be relied upon to be your
Even
wide receiver
then,
1 or
like,
2.
I take like J-Mo over Garrett Wilson.
Ooh, that might be spicy. All right, let's circle back to Scott Harrison, why we feel almost no confidence in him moving forward with the trade deadline. Some Casey Mize updates as well, all when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
This is potentially the last show that we have before Tarek Skubal is on another team. I want to take a trip into the future, hop in a time machine, and predict what we are going to be discussing, not just us, but everyone, baseball lovers, baseball content creators, baseball minds, what are people going to be talking about Scott Harris? Conversations revolving around him a week from today. I don't think it's going to be good. Like, I look at the last couple trade deadlines, and there's an increasing amount of evidence as to why I should have zero faith in Scott Harris going forward and how his ability to handle this trade deadline is impacted by the last few. So in 2024, Evan Petzold from the Free Press said, a rival executive described the Tigers' return for Jack Flaherty. Not a good return relative to other deals for starting pitchers at the deadline. Automatic red flag right there. Traded Jack Flaherty, got 70 cents on the dollar for him. It was, wait until the very last second, had better deals on the table, and then suddenly every other team went towards somebody else because Scott Harris was being so adamant that he wanted more and more and more, and he was being greedy. Then, obviously, the Tigers at that point were in a position in which they had to sell, so they have to tuck their tail between their legs, call up the Dodgers one more time, and they got Tyron Lorenzo and Trey Sweeney. Tyron Lorenzo is the third guy in the Tigers organization. Honestly, now that Eduardo Valencia is in the bigs, he's the fourth guy in the Tigers organization that's like this catcher, first baseman type of player. He's still hanging out in Double-A, same place he was when the Tigers acquired him a couple of years back. Bad trade. Trey Sweeney, thanks for the cool moment. He could be dead. I have no idea. He's been hurt all year. Bad trade. Bad trade deadline. 2025. Let's go over the names that they acquired. Panik, Dobnik, Kyle Finnegan, Paul Sewald, Rafael Montero, Cody Hoyer, Charlie Morton. It was bad. ESPN gave it a D. Passan said, quote, Panik hardly projects as anything more than a guy who can chew up a few extra innings. It's not a game changer. Yahoo Sports also gave it a D, said the Tigers didn't do anything this week to up their World Series odds, which given their talent on the roster is a darn shame. Okay, if not when? If not now, then when? Well, clearly it wasn't this year either. The Tigers were in first place by the way, last year at this time, and they decided to do absolutely nothing. Sports Illustrated, they echoed the same opinion. They gave him a C+ and said, the moves added up to signal that Detroit isn't going for the jugular quite yet. And clearly they're not doing it this year because they're going to be sellers. Missed opportunities last year. That was the theme of last year's trade deadline, unwillingness to give up some of your prospects. Then as far back as 1 month ago, Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic said, the griping from rival executives about dealing with Scott Harris, the Tigers' notoriously exacting president of baseball operations, would be just as entertaining as the Scooble sweepstakes. Ken Rosenthal's not just saying that without good information coming from other rival executives. Clearly, he's talked to multiple people who cannot stand negotiating with Scott Harris. It's impossible. It's like trading with a guy in fantasy football who just refuses to give you a realistic offer. Refuses to. You go send him a real trade, and then he's like, yeah, but like, what if it was this? And it's just like, okay, man, I'm not accepting 3 trash players for this one. I don't care that it's a 3-for-1. You're offering me Ramondre Stevenson and J.K. Dobbins and Parker Washington for Derrick Henry right now. That's not how this works. Just because it's a 3-for-1 doesn't make it a good deal. That's clearly what Scott Harris has been doing. Overvaluing his own prospects, unwillingness to give anybody up in the farm system while wanting to acquire some of the hottest names at the market. That was last year's deadline, and other executives laugh and point fun of Scott Harris. That's where we are with Scott Harris now. And that was trading away guys like Jack Flaherty and acquiring small-name pitchers. What's it going to be like when it's magnified 1,000 times because it's Tarek Skubal, the back-to-back Cy Young? This is a franchise-altering trade, one that could project you forward, or you could get absolutely nothing back in return for him. Based on all of those quotes from other executives and national writers, I have a feeling Scott Harris is going to get dog-walked on Monday with this Tarek Skubal deal. Dog-walked, dragged through the mud, swirlied.
Shoved in the locker.
Shoved in a locker, and the locker slammed shut. That's what the Dodgers, I think, are going to do to Scott Harris. And I'm petrified that this is going to be a very disappointing return to the point where I'm lowering my expectations. And a week from now, hopping in the time machine, I expect the conversations around this trade, where I think he inevitably ends up on the Dodgers, is going to be, I can't believe it. The Dodgers didn't have to give up anything of value, and they acquired Tarek Skubal. People are going to be saying that the Dodgers absolutely dragged Scott Harris along, slapped him in the face, and KO'd him. Those are the conversations I think we're having a week from now. I don't know if the Tigers fans are prepared for the way that this thing is going to go. You already got fleeced by the Dodgers once if you're Scott Harris. I think we're just signing up for it a second time, and this time it's under a much bigger microscope because it's Tarek Skubal and every national pundit saying the Dodgers had to give up nothing of value in their farm system because of how strong it is, and they got a guy like Tarek Skubal. I think that's how this is going to go. A week from now, I think not just us, not just Tigers media, everybody is dumping on Scott Harris and celebrating what the Dodgers pulled off.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because the team that you probably want just for a return perspective for the Tigers to trade with is the Dodgers. And so that's what makes things tough because if they acquire Tarek Skubal, it doesn't really matter what they give up. They won the trade deadline. They will be acquiring the back-to-back Cy Young winner without giving up anyone that is on their current team, without losing anyone. If anything, they'll lose a guy that's in the rotation. Oh, guess what? You replaced him with Tarek Skubal. So they're going to win the deadline no matter what, and you're the team that traded with them. So we could still be happy with the return, but they're not going to win the trade. The Tigers will not win the Tarek Skubal trade.
It's impossible.
It's just difficult to do when you're trading away the back-to-back Cy Young winner. And so it raises an interesting proposition for if we are getting ready and gearing up for a week from now, everybody trashing on Scott Harris, and oh my gosh, they screwed this up. They have such a grand opportunity right now. You know, Jim Bowden of CBS Sports just tweeting this out 20 minutes ago that the Tigers are reportedly going to do the right thing, be the headliner at this year's trade deadline by trading Skubal, Mize, Torres, and Jansen, now all expected to be dealt by Monday. And if they mess it up, we are going to legit have the conversation of, hey, yeah, I know we just let Scott Harris make the biggest trades that shape the future of the Tigers over the next 5 years, but let's just fire him at the end of the season.
Because he embarrassed us. Like, that's what's happening, right?
And it's what's happened at each deadline of Scott Harris's tenure with the Tigers. And this one is, of course, times 20 million of all of those deadlines. You know, he messed up the Jack Flaherty trade. Oh, he traded for a bunch of guys that no one knew last year.
Yeah, neither of those will get you fired. Messing up a Skubal deal, that could get you fired. And you know, like, I know people, oh, what about the Hao-Yu Lee deal? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean,
one of the deals was great.
Every GM makes a couple good moves, you know? Spencer Torkelson hits a home run every once in a while. Doesn't make him a good player.
No, he's one of the most replaceable players in the league, actually. Very average player.
Similar to Scott Harris. Yeah, he'll make it. Oh, he signed Gleyber Torres. Great. Let's look at all the 20 bad things on top of that.
Or the 20 things he didn't do.
Right.
You know, what did he not do? Cash in for max value on Jack Flaherty. What did he not do? Go get, someone of real value, an extra bat.
Yeah.
Gino Suarez last year at the deadline.
Exactly. Drafted Kevin McGonigal. That's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Like, spectacular. That's the number one best thing Scott Harris has done. But at the end of the day, and as someone put this in our YouTube chat at the beginning of the show, I think it was Ryan, just saying, like, at the end of the day, Scott Harris is a scout. Yeah, it was Ryan. Scott Harris is a scout. He's not a GM. He can't negotiate with other executives, and he's way too loyal to his own players and thinks way too highly of them because he is a scout. You know, he gets too attached to these guys.
Bullseye. That is a great way to put it. Bullseye. People say Brad Holmes is a scout. I think he's a pretty damn good GM with the way he constructs
but he was
contracts.
a scout, you know, and he has turned himself into a spectacular general manager.
Scott Harris is the one who fits that description more. He is a scout. He falls in love with his own guys. He overvalues guys like Max Anderson and won't give them up for guys like Gino Suarez, who could have made a difference in the playoffs last year. I know he stunk for Seattle, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, but still.
He was an expiring deal. You never had to bring him back. And guess who hasn't contributed to the Tigers at all? Max freaking Anderson, who was the reason they wouldn't trade for Gino Suarez last year.
Who maybe we'll see at the end of the season. Who knows?
Probably. The other thing as to why you'll never win a trade with the Dodgers is because, I mean, this is the whole reason we're going into a lockout. It's not just because they spend the most money at the big leagues level. It's because they have the best scouts in the most places, whether it's the DR or Korea or Japan. They dump the most amount of resources into their training facility, like all of it. It's why they have the number one farm system on top of having the best team in Major League Baseball. So the Dodgers are in a position where they could just outbid anybody for Tarek Skubal right now. I know the Brewers are interested, but if the Dodgers are having the mindset of we will not say no, we will make sure we get Tarek Skubal no matter what, guess what? They will get him. and they can continue to give up players in their farm system with no real consequences, of no players with real, like, oh, I can't believe we lost that guy, they will be glad to send any of them away to acquire Tarek Skubal because they can send as many players as they want away, and they will still have the number one farm system in baseball.
I don't know, Ben. I'm getting a different feeling on this. I think the Brewers can top the Dodgers offer because the Dodgers can simply take the standpoint of, oh, the Brewers, you want to give up all that for Tarek Skubal? All right, we'll take him in November.
Yeah.
You can have him for the next 3 months. We'll take him after you.
If there's a true emphasis on three-peating before this comes to a halt.
Yeah, and keeping him away from another contender, of course. Like, if it was the Rays, I think the Dodgers would just be like, oh, sure, Rays. You
Especially
can trade for
going
him.
to the American
Yeah,
League.
exactly. Like, oh, we don't care. You're probably not even going to make it to when we play you in the World Series.
Correct.
But if it is the Brewers, who do have just as good as a farm system as the Dodgers do, and they're willing to give up more, they're willing to they have the number one prospect in baseball. You know, like they're willing to make some crazy deal. The Dodgers could simply be like, all right, cool, do it. We'll just sign him because you're not going to sign him.
Yeah. And they could take that approach. I think there is going to be a large emphasis on let's be the first three-peat since with the Lakers.
And it would take the
Lakers
Brewers.
or Yankees?
It was the Lakers. It would also take the Brewers like doing something irrational, you know, like giving up crazy prospect return for a rental pitcher.
I don't think they're going to do that. That's just my opinion. I don't think they're going
I'm
to
with
do
you.
that.
And another reason why we're just going to be disappointed is because the biggest trade of the deadline last year was Mason Miller getting traded to the Padres from the Athletics. And it was an unbelievable return for the A's, getting Leo DeVries, their number one prospect. He's a top 5 prospect in baseball right now. They got the number 1, number 3, number 7, and something else for a damn reliever. And you're just not going to get that for Tarek Skubal.
Partially because he's on an expiring deal.
Sure,
Where Miller was.
It's the back-to-back Cy Young, though. You know, like, and now there's talks about Mason Miller getting retraded at the deadline because the Padres aren't good. And so that's another reason why we're going to, like, you look at last year's biggest deal, it was Mason Miller. Yeah, he's one of the best closers in baseball. He's a closer. We got a guy that pitches 7 times as many innings as him on a day-to-day basis.
I think 1 week from today, Scott Harris is being dragged up a mountain by every single national beat reporter, or national reporter, beat reporters, national pundits, every executive. They're all making fun of Scott Harris for such little return that they got for Tarek Skubal. That's my prediction on this thing. I'm setting myself up to be, I'm not even setting myself up to be disappointing. I'm doing the opposite. I'm lowering my expectations so I'm not dramatically disappointed. I think if there's people out there that are expecting, these top prospects to end up on the Tigers, whether it's the Brewers system or the Dodger system, I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And this is a scenario where I would love to be wrong about this. I would love for the Tigers to land someone like Zaire Hope or Mike Sirota or Eduardo Quintero, or who are the guys that you like in the Brewer system? Fisher or
Pena, who's their number 2 guy, is top 20 prospect.
Pena.
Yeah, I love Fisher, Luis Lara, a lot of guys, all hitters in the Brewers org.
I just, for some, like, whether it's the expiring aspect or just the Scott Harris, I named you all the reasons why he sucks at the deadline. I feel like we're just going to end up being disappointed. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on 100.9. The mid 11 o'clock hour is brought to you by Yetter Insurance. Life happens fast, and at Yetter Insurance Group, they're here to make sure you're covered every step of the way. Locally owned and trusted in Midland for decades, they treat you like family, not just another policy number. From home and auto to business and life insurance, Yetter is the right coverage for every stage of life. Their team makes insurance simple with expert advice and real people you can actually talk to. That's Yetter Insurance Group. We'll be there when you need us since 1940.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
So Casey Mize getting scratched from the lineup today, I do think is very telling about the Tigers' plans here at the deadline. And they've finally decided, Kyle, the team's 7 games below 500, finally figured out what they want to do at this year's deadline. I think they're going to be full-fledged fire sellers at this year's deadline, which is ultimately a good thing. Well, I guess it's not ultimately a good thing, but considering the circumstances that they have found themselves in after a tragic May in which we knew it would be near impossible to get out of, yeah, this is what the Tigers have to do, and I'm glad that they have finally realized it. I'm not glad they're in this position. Obviously, wish they weren't. But I'm glad that they're going to make the right decision based on the position that they are in at this current state of time.
I'm excited, man. Like I'm kind of I'm gearing up a little bit for this weekend. We are going to be on refreshing Twitter all weekend mode, and I'm pumped up for that. Like I love the trade deadline in every sport, but as we all know, as Detroit fans, our teams typically are not involved very often. Our team might be the most involved. Now, going back to what you said in the previous segment, we could be extremely disappointed, but at least we're going to be involved. Hey, at least we're at the party. Nobody might like us. We might show up and no one's going to speak to us, but we're there. We're having drinks with everybody. We're fake laughing with everyone.
You know what's going to happen? This trade is going to happen while we're watching the Odyssey tomorrow. That's for sure what's going to happen, and we're going to miss like 3 hours worth of it.
I'm finally seeing the Odyssey. I'm excited. I'm going to be that guy tomorrow.
No. What, are you going to have your phone in the movie theater?
What am I not going to bring it into the theater? What are you talking about?
You're going to check your phone during the movie?
I mean, I'm going to have my phone between my legs. If I get a Twitter notification, I'm going to look.
No, Kyle, this is... No.
You don't even bring your phone into the theater?
No, I bring my phone in the movies.
You made it seem like it was a sin to even have it on me.
I think it's a sin to check your phone in the movie theater. I really do. Like, that is...
You want to know
Christopher
something?
Nolan would be so mad at you if you decided to check your phone in the middle of this
Christopher Nolan's
movie.
team was never traded Tarek Skubal.
We don't
So
know
that's what I gotta
We have
say.
no idea. Maybe he is a Tigers fan.
If he was a real fan, he would understand. Look, all I'm saying... You know what? One time
I
it
love
was
taking my break from the phone in the movie theater. I refuse to
No,
look at it.
I typically don't. I think this is a different circumstance. I'm not saying I'm going to be sitting there like on Twitter the whole time, but if I get a Twitter notification, I'm going to look at it.
But then what? Then you're just...
But then if
it's
a
wrecks
trade,
the rest of the
then
movie.
if a trade does happen, yeah, then I'm like, oh God, then I have to sit there and think about it.
It's just not worth it.
That's true.
It'll wreck the rest of the movie. You won't be able to just watch the movie and enjoy it.
Okay, fine. I won't. You can hold
I'm
me
not
to
going
it.
to tell you what to do. I'm just giving, I don't want the movie to be taken away from you because something happens at the deadline. And I think we can both assume...
Look, people in the YouTube chat are going at me. I don't typically go on my phone in the movie theater. I want to make that clear. I am a lock into the movie person. I think it's the best way to watch a movie is in the theater. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Look, I think checking the Tigers score something as long as the brightness is really low and you do it very discreetly is fine if you're just going to watch a movie just for fun on a Friday night or whatever. The Odyssey is not one of those movies. You, as a movie, buff,
I know.
I would be sad.
A couple years ago, I forget what movie it was. God, I cannot remember what movie it was. It was a big one. I watched it on a Tuesday night, and it was 2 years ago. Tarek Skubal was against the Angels pitching on ESPN, and he was
Oppenheimer.
He was killing them. I mean, he was having an insane start, and I threw it on the phone, low brightness. I was just like, dude, he's 7 scoreless, insane game. I have to at least have it on in the background.
See, last night was the night to see it. It just didn't work out with...
was it Sinners? Maybe it was last year, Sinners? Maybe it was not 2 years ago?
Sinners didn't come out during baseball season. Sinners was a winter movie.
Sinners was not a winter movie.
I feel like I saw it in February.
It was a spring movie, wasn't it?
I thought I saw it in February. Maybe I'm wrong.
Anyways, though. So maybe it wasn't Sinners. I can't remember. But yeah. I will, fine, you can hold me to it. I won't go on my phone for it. But if Casey Mize gets traded, what's going to happen first?
Probably a Skubal deal.
It feels like the Skubal deal should be done first.
Feels like that one has to happen first. Or do you trade Casey knowing...
It feels like all the other teams, because then, if I'm the Tigers, I certainly am trading Skubal before Mize.
Correct.
Because you trade Skubal to the Dodgers. Let's just throw that out there as what's going to happen, right? Hypothetical here. Skubal gets traded to the Dodgers. The immediate course of action for the Tigers is not, woohoo, we traded Skubal, we got this package back. No, it is, hey Brewers, hey Mets, hey Brewers, hey Phillies, hey Braves, hey Rays, hey Yankees, here's the next best option. Here's Casey Mize. That's the immediate course of action that they should take.
Correct. Because if they deal Casey Mize first, all of a sudden every other team is pissed at them because it's like, are you serious?
And it takes that team out of the Scooble race too.
Correct. Yeah, every other team is pissed at them because all of a sudden it's like, really? Because now we have to offer whatever Casey got dealt with for, we got to offer more for Tarek Skubal. They could just like band together and be like, no, F you. We're not doing this again. Your guy's not worth our top 5 prospects. It's just not how it's going to work. So screw off. Like, I really do think there's like a coalition against Scott Harris that's happening across baseball because it feels like at every chance that these other executives have, they tell the national reporters how stupid of a GM Scott Harris is. It's not a good situation to be in, guys, when everyone's making fun of your GM, and that's where we're trending next week. I really do believe that. But I am glad to see that Casey Mize, like, they finally have acknowledged, yes, we are going to be big-time sellers at this year's deadline.
It still is like wow, they really are like doing this now. Like, I would have almost rather them double down and be like, we weren't going to start Skubal, so why are we starting Casey Mize? But whatever. I mean, it's too late now, I guess. Tony Romo, by the way, is on leave from CBS Sports right now, coming from Adam Schefter until further notice.
Did you see the
DUI?
The video?
I've seen. Is some of this AI though? Some of this stuff is AI.
I mean, him doing the Dak hip warm up is for sure AI.
I've been like kind of avoiding all that stuff because I just am sick of seeing all the fake stuff that I don't know is fake or real.
I thought it was pretty funny.
DUI though for Tony Romo, so he's off on leave for CBS. Does that mean he's not going to be with Nance? Like, that's a big deal, dude.
I would guess by.
That's like one of the top broadcasting duos.
I open Twitter and the first thing I see is AI Tony Romo driving with Tiger Woods in the front seat with 1,000 beer cans between them.
Oh man, this world is.
And Tony Romo's driving the car like this.
It's what AI was intended to be used for.
989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Minute. Hey, Max Clark, debut tonight. Excited about that.
Very excited.
Ben Bosscher Show live here on The Minute. You know what sounds great here on a Friday? Pizza Baker. Ugh. Pepperoni, banana pepper. They call it the Bananaroni. That's my favorite pizza, and I always ask for the hot honey finish. It's that sourdough, so it's not going to slow you down the rest of the day, but it is enough to fill you up. It's the perfect amount of pizza for lunch. Stop there, downtown Midland. Tell them 100.9 The Minute sent you. Try one of their specialty pizzas. I'm telling you, it'll change your perspective on pizzas here in the Great Lakes Bay region. Best pizza in town, Pizza Baker, downtown Midland.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, Kyle. It's 11:30. You know exactly what that means. It's the news.
The Mits Morning Catch.
Okay, back in the news. We got some, maybe some bad news this morning from Lions training camp, Ben. Aleem McNeil
Maybe.
carted off.
He was carted off?
Just taken off for practice. Neck injury? Is that what they're describing this as?
Yeah, he ended practice
Yikes.
early and is being evaluated for a neck injury.
Same with Jimmy Rolder due to a leg injury.
Ugh, that sucks. The Aleem one is like I don't know if Jimmy Rolder's going to play all that much this year. The Aleem one would be devastating because they are really expecting Aleem McNeil to be a high-end contributor this year. We've talked about it at various points throughout the offseason. $28 million cap hit. It's the third highest on the team. They also didn't really address defensive tackle in free agency after letting Troy Lopez and DJ Reader walk. So for Aleem McNeil to actually miss time would be devastating for the Lions. So hopefully this is no more than something that's going to keep him out a week or so.
Hopefully. We'll see. And we'll probably get some more updates on this, too. Maybe by the end of the show, but if not, of course, sometime today and this weekend. There's always like a training camp injury that happens. Now, whether it's to a very impact player or not, that's kind of up in the air always, but this would be
Devastating.
a really tough way to get things kicked off. Let's take a look at the community calendar presented by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Earlier this week, Kevin LeDuc from the Midland Area Community Foundation came on to preview Midland Area River Days. That's once again going on tonight. Got kicked off yesterday. I'm already seeing pictures of hot air balloons everywhere across Midland right now, so that's pretty cool. Festivities getting started at 5 o'clock tonight. There's a ton of stuff going on. There's live entertainment starting at 7. There's an after party from 9 to 11. Hot air balloon glow at 9. All the information on everything that's going on is available at riverdaysmidland.com. Excited to see that. Okay, it's also Dogmen night this weekend. Tomorrow night, that is, at Dow Diamond. So a lot of stuff going on in Midland this weekend.
I'm thrilled. I hope the rain stays away for tomorrow because the Dogmen
Yeah.
stuff is something that we've been working here at the ballpark towards for a couple of years. So I think a lot of people within the org are really excited to see how this thing can play out in the story that we want to tell with that. So I hope that the rain stays away so we're able to do that. But a Copa night tonight here at the ballpark, always fun festivities during that. So come on out.
Indeed. I got a good amount of football stuff, but I want to do one baseball thing first. You were talking about our guys at Curveball Collectibles earlier. They'll think this one's cool. A Florida card collector pulls a one-of-one Shohei Ohtani card and sells it for, any guess here, Ben?
I think I saw the number.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead and just say it.
$11 million.
Yeah, I was going to say 10. That's,
11 mil for pulling a one-of-one Shohei Ohtani card.
I got to start buying more packs.
And that
from
could be
Curveball.
you on Big Win. No, I'm just kidding. $11 million for a card?
Can you imagine?
I've never really understood. When I was a kid, I got into the card stuff, but I've never understood the magnitude of it, you know?
I can't, so what happens if next time Mike's in and we're doing a giveaway with Curveball, if we're just ripping packs and all of a sudden we pull one of those crazy one of
Yeah, I
cards?
don't know if you could pull something like that in those. Maybe you can. I don't know the details. Mike, I guess we'll have to explain that to us.
What would
we should
happen?
ask him about this next time he's on. We have to remember to ask him about this because
the Shohei card?
yeah. How does this even happen? Is this a box or a pack of cards you have to pay premium dollar for to even have a chance at pulling that?
I'm unsure. What would happen if we pulled it during the show though?
I wouldn't
is it
know.
whoever
I'd be
goes
I'd
to
be
the winner?
Oh, look
is
at this, Ohtani card. It's kind of sick.
go to the station?
Oh, right.
I don't know.
It goes to us.
Who's
$11
us?
million?
Yeah, but okay, say if I open that pack, is it my card or is it?
Or is it Mike's because he gave it to us?
See, I don't know.
Or is it? Yeah. Does it go to the station? Does it go to a listener? Do we split it up?
I think
Does it all go to me?
I'd pull one of these. I'd be put it in
Yeah.
my pocket. Be I don't know. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Okay, football news. Baker Mayfield speaking to the media yesterday, just talking about his lack of a new contract. And boy, he had a lot to say just about the Bucs organization, saying he, quote, felt disrespected and undervalued by the Buccaneers' offers. He says he has played with a chip on his shoulder and under pressure in seasons past, and he is going to have a hell of a year this year to prove that he should have been paid.
Do you blame the Bucs for not paying him? I was thinking about this yesterday.
Do I blame them?
Yeah, I mean, Baker Mayfield at this point.
Yeah, I think they should have paid him. I think he fits into a tier and a caliber.
31.
He fits into a tier and caliber of quarterback that should be paid because what is the alternative?
And it's basically the Trevor Lawrence range of like $50 million.
I think they should have paid him. I think it's a mistake, and because like who's their quarterback next year? If they don't have a backup plan. They're going to start a rookie next year when they're like trying to compete and win. Are they going to go into a rebuild? Like I don't know.
Well, do you think part of it too is like they're looking to fire Todd Bowles at the earliest sign possible?
I mean, if they're already like looking to the next regime of that seems like an issue. They could win the division this year, make the playoffs. Like, so I don't know. Other football news. Chris Olave in the same division signing a 4-year extension with the Saints yesterday. 4-year, $132 million up to. It's $90 million guaranteed, however. Big time deal, and it's another Ohio State wide receiver that gets a duffel bag. Good bounce back year from Olave last year. Going into last season, it felt like Olave's career was up in the air just because the amount of concussions that he had suffered. And he had a really good season last year, and also him and Tyler Shook have really good chemistry. So they give him the new contract with the Saints. $33 million a year, I believe that annualizes to. It's a lot of money.
Not bad. It's a lot of money for a guy who's usually hurt.
Let's do something Kyle Whittingham said that actually has merit to it rather than all the up-in-the-air Ohio State stuff. He said that incoming freshman running back Savion Hitter, I still don't know how you say that. I'm going to rock with Hitter for now. He will enter fall camp as the RB2 behind Jordan Marshall. Whittingham announces. Pretty big stuff, man. True freshman, one of their top recruits coming in. You're going to see him out on the field a good amount this season, it seems like.
Don't view that as a loss. Oh, he didn't win the job. He's a true freshman, and he's going to be getting reps.
Yeah.
Michigan has, obviously,
they also added another running back in the portal, too.
Yeah, Michigan under different regimes, of course, has very much leaned into having like two reliable running backs out there rather than just one. So I do expect him to play a lot this year as a true freshman.
Where did Justice Haynes end up going?
No, he came from Alabama.
Georgia Tech? Yeah, he went to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
the
tough,
former
man.
J-Bat school.
That's right. And now J-Bat at Kentucky, yeah. Okay, I think that's all I got in the news. Oh, no, one more football thing. That's right. Two more things, actually. Oh, look at that. Deebo Samuel, he's back to the 49ers on a 1-year deal. How about this? Deebo, he beefed with the 49ers for like 2-3 years straight. And now he's just going right back.
Just a gadget guy at this point in his career, but I think he's still got a little bit of juice left in the tank. Not somebody I'd be picking in fantasy or anything, but I think there's a little bit left in him.
I don't think he's a bad late round fantasy guy, honestly. He was fine last year, and everybody there is injured. Ricky Pearsall's hurt again. Brandon Ayuk is somewhere, who knows where.
Kittle will hit the IL at
Everybody's
some point.
already injured. Yeah, Kittle, they're already having the classic 49ers injury stuff, and it's July. So, I mean, even their head coach has, it's terrible right now. So, last thing in the news, Kirby Joseph spoke to the media yesterday. He was at Lions training camp, of course. Quote, "I'm super optimistic. I never give up. I'm always going to work hard. All I do is work." Just talking about striving, getting back to the field.
Wishing him the best. But
it's good to see words come out of his mouth, rather than on Twitter.
Yeah. All right. That's the news. 989-837-6125. All right, quick shout out to our friends over at Eastman Party Store, your one-stop shop for everything you need before this weekend hits. Whether you're grabbing cold drinks, snacks for the game, or realizing last minute that you do need ice, Eastman Party Store has you covered. If you're headed to a party tonight, sitting on the couch, whatever it is, make it easy on yourself. Swing by Eastman Party Store, get in, get out, and get on with your night. Eastman Party Store, quick stop, great selection, and always clutch when you need it most.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, welcome back in. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, and we are live here on 100.9 The Mid. We have 3 traditions to close out every show, the first of which is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Oh, Kyle. Some are saying that we're hot right now. What? Some are saying that? Are people saying that? They might be saying
I think
that.
you might be saying it, and you would classify as people, I think. So, yeah, I think so. Ben right now is 3-0 this week. Monday's pick did not count. It was canceled, so he's 3-0. A chance to have a perfect week, technically. I don't think I would call it as like a real perfect week.
Like asterisk week.
Yeah, but still a chance for it. And yesterday, Ben's biggest hit of 2026 from an odds perspective. You've had a couple in the 100s that have hit, but not one in the plus 200s that hit. Michael Bush at plus 230 yesterday to get 2 hits. Nailed it. He got 2 hits. He went 2 for 5. So Ben is over 4 units up on the week. So he's won the week, no doubt. He's also gotten himself back to just 14.4 units down in 2026, which you were 19 units down coming into this week.
Nice.
So that's pretty good. However, still digging yourself out of the hole of the month. 1.1 units down this month. So you need something that's at least plus 111 today to get over that marker and be positive in July, which you were just barely down in June and you were just barely up in May. So trying to get back in the positive realm there.
All right, today I'm going back to the Tigers. Javier Baez. Let's just ride the hot hand, man. Since he's come back from injury, he's 5 for 9. He's seeing the pitches well. He's hitting the gaps. No, just 1 extra base hit. No extra base hit. A lot of just singles. Nonetheless, I'm going with 2 total bases today. Not all the props were out this morning. I think because it's a late game, so limited choices. I wish I could have just gone like 2 hits plus runs plus RBI, but it was like minus odds, and I needed something plus for today. So Javier Baez, 2 total bases. He's plus 132, so 1 double gets it done. They're playing in a smaller park today because it's that AAA stadium, so home run potential, of course. Against Jeffrey Springs in his career, which is the A's pitcher for tonight, he's 3 for 7, so some good success there.
They also killed him when they played the A's just a couple weeks ago, too.
Correct. He's got an ERA that starts with 6 this year. The Tigers lit him up. Against right-handed pitching this season, Jeffrey Springs is allowing opponents to hit 280. Against opponents at home this year, all opponents, they're hitting 287 against him. So a lot of stuff working against the starting pitcher. I'm going to take Javier Baez to have 2 total bases. Double gets it done. Home run gets it done. 2 singles gets it done. For plus 132. What do you think? Tail or fade?
I've mentioned I don't usually like the bases bets. Javi Baez, though, is not really a guy that walks. So, because that's why I really don't like the total bases bets for guys like McGonigal, guys who do walk, because it just doesn't, it's a waste of an at-bat, essentially, for that bet. Javi Baez doesn't do that, really. So, I think I'm going to tail today. I've been fading most of the part this week, and you've been hitting all your picks. So, I feel like I got to at least give you a tail today. Plus, Javi Baez, like, he's pretty sick.
Oh, that's my boy right there. That's Javier Baez.
All right, there it is. That is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Support the pride, passion, and tradition of Northwood University athletics. From packed gyms to big plays on the field, the Timberwolves compete with heart every single day. Catch all the action. Cheer on Northwood Athletics as they continue building champions in competition and the classroom and the community. Our next tradition to close out each and every show is our game of the day.
Game of the day.
Caitlin Clark does play today, but also Max Clark is getting called up, and it's a night game for the Tigers. I think I'm just going with the Tigers game for the second time. Ooh, the Red Sox do play the Dodgers. Ooh. That is a very intriguing game. Red Sox versus Dodgers out in L.A.
Bullpen day for the Dodgers, it looks like.
Yeah,
too.
that's probably going
to on the mound.
Push me away from that one. And Ranger Suarez for the yeah, that's probably going to push me away from that one. Otherwise, that was looking really spicy. Oh, man, that
I mean,
stinks.
it's Max Clark's debut, man.
Yeah, Max Clark debut. I have no. Oh, the Yankees play the Cubs too, but that's at 2:20. Why is that a 2:20 game on a Friday?
It is interesting.
That's pretty weird. Huh.
Ooh, you get Paul Skeens versus Hunter Green today, too. Hunter Green has been a name that has been tossed around in trade talks, too, just in the last several days. Having a really tough year this year, but obviously was tremendous the last couple of years for Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah, Skeens. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with the Max Clark debut game. So I'll go with the Tigers and the Athletics as the game of the day.
Game of the day.
I got 2 words for you. Steve Nash and Chris Paul. Must-see TV.
Michigan fans, they have nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about Ohio State, according to their head coach. Sheesh.
Okay. Last thing we have is to predict what Colin opens with. He hasn't been in all week, so we assume it's going to be J-Mac again here on a Friday. What's J-Mac going to open with? Neither of us got a point yesterday.
Nope, it was 49ers lead yesterday, which honestly
shame on us.
Should have sniffed that out. It was a good lead, should have sniffed it out, didn't. My turn to go first today. 67-66 is still the score. I am up by 1. Episode 290 today. This is a chance to do a baseball lead. I just don't know what it would be. I still think Scooble Dodgers. If it was Colin, I would pick that today. I think it would be the lead. Tony Romo stuff is a Tony Romo stuff like worth leading with?
I was just gonna say that as a joke, but I don't think they would do.
It's like a
attack other
dig on
media
CBS.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that would happen. Debo going back to the 49ers could spark like another 49ers thing. This also feels like it's a Friday. Pick a random NFL team to talk about, and that could be the lead. I'm gonna do it though. I'm gonna go Scooble Dodgers. I'm going to go Scooble Dodgers. I think since it's a Friday, it's like this is the last chance to do a MLB lead. That's what I'll choose.
I'll double down on the 49ers. Why not?
Yeah, I could see it.
Why not? I mean, he led with them yesterday, and then they signed Debo Samuel. So I guess like there's more reason to keep talking about the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, who obviously has the concussion thing going on right now. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be it. So what's your prediction here? Do you think Monday's show, 9 a.m., we're talking about a Tarek Skubal trade, or we're basically begging the Tarek Skubal trade to happen? We got to do one more day of what's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen Sunday.
Sunday.
It's my prediction. I think Skubal gets traded on Sunday.
I think it's Monday.
I think we are talking about a trade Monday morning. Like, the Tigers have made a bigger trade.
Glaber or
Mize.
Like, I just don't know who wants
But I think Skubal gets Kenley will get traded. I mean, a team will take him. It's just like we'll take a flyer on him. You know, like he would be a guy that could be helpful if he turns on.
And if he rocks, all of a sudden, do we have to look at Chris Fetter?
That's a good point. Yeah, my prediction will be Skubal gets traded Sunday. I don't want to pick a team. I just hope it's the Brewers or Dodgers.
Yeah, it feels like those are kind of the last two teams standing, right?
But I don't know. Like the Braves and Phillies are certainly in this thing. And I really hope the Philly stuff gains some juice because that is such a I'm looking at the Dodgers. What? You want them to go Skubal, Sanchez, Wheeler to open up a series? You want to go against that in a playoff series?
No.
You better up your offer. Like I really hope the Philly stuff picks up this weekend because that would help the Tigers tremendously.
I don't really care about the Tigers being
or
the
even
villains.
just like Skubal, Mizorowski. You want to go up against Skubal and Miz?
No.
1-2 on your home, like at Dodger Stadium. No.
What you want is Yamamoto and Skubal together. Who are probably, I don't want to call them the two best pitchers in the world because Miz is probably jumped into that.
If it was Mizorowski and Skubal, there you go.
Two best pitchers in the world, yeah. I don't really care about the Tigers becoming villains by being the team that gives the Dodgers Skubal, but if they do get it, I pretty much guarantee a lockout next year. We're not playing baseball.
I mean, I think that's kind of guaranteed. We will start in a lockout.
Yeah.
Just depends on how long it lasts.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for us this week. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. Like and subscribe on the YouTube side of things. And then, of course, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is where you can stay up to date on all the latest stats, stories, graphics, and exclusive video content. We appreciate you guys for listening. We'll be back Monday, hopefully talking about a Tarek Skubal trade. See you guys then.
The Ben Bosscher